Hello, welcome to the fanfic Majesty. 12 Op Hus. Chapter 221. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The croupier. Help with the calculations. If there is not enough money at the table, the casino remembers to make up for me at the odds. Mu Feng looked at the croupier and smiled. Oh, okay. The croupier was taken aback for a moment before nodding. At this moment, he still can't relax. That blind guy actually won. How could it be possible? He has lost hundreds of games one after another. The gamblers around were also blank, looking at the gaming table in disbelief. Actually lost. Didn't you say that you are here to pick up money? Especially the guy who put his wife in, now he has a pale face. Without his wife, how can he marry his wife? However, it is clear that Mu Feng did not have time to bother about how he married his wife. Instead, he looked at Fujitora, smiled and said, "Do you want to continue? I don't think your luck will stop. After all, some people will fly into the sky sooner or later." Fujitora looked at Mu Feng with the white pupils of his eyes, and did not make a sound for a while. Then, instead, he looked at the croupier and said, "Continue." Oh, good. The croupier closed the lid of the color cup and shook it all over the sky. It takes about a few tens of seconds for the croupier to buckle the color cup on the gaming table. And loudly said, "Okay. Now everyone starts to bet, and you can't change it after you place your bet." Advertisement. No one moved, everyone looked at Fujitora. Fujitora did not hesitate this time and directly bet a stack of chips in the big area. Mu Feng smiled, raising his hand again but throwing it away. A golden bargaining chip also bet on the big area. And he said, adding the bet just now, a total of 200 million. The gamblers around, they are not as decisive as they were just now. You look at me and I look at you, and then a large number of people still bet their chips in the small area. After all, Fujitora, everyone can see the extremely poor gambling luck shown. People who love gambling all believe in gambling luck. However, there are a few sporadic people who have placed their chips in the big area. It is estimated that in their opinion, it is boring to win a small one. If you want to win, you will win a big one. The croupier in charge of opening the color cup was already sweating profusely, and his hands on the lid of the color cup couldn't help but tremble. After all, the amount at the gaming table is too big. If the gamblers win, it's nothing, the casino can still make a lot of money. However, if the blind old man and this young man win, the casino will lose hundreds of millions of Baileys. And he opened this color cup, he would definitely not have any good fruit. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, with so many eyes looking at him, the croupier can't help but open it. The croupier closed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and opened the lid of the color cup. My heart was beating, almost didn't jump out of my throat. After a long while, I opened my eyes and looked at the color cup. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, another pass of the leopard. Suddenly, the croupier's heart was half cold. Advertisement. It looks like I won again now, Mu Feng said with a smile. Who are you? Fujitora finally asked. From the moment Mu Feng first appeared, Fujitora felt that Mu Feng was extraordinary, and every word seemed to have something in it. Who am I? Does it matter? Mu Feng smiled. With that said, Mu Feng walked to the croupier's position. For some reason, the croupier took 2 steps back subconsciously. And Mu Feng also picked up the color cup on the gaming table, shook it twice, and said, "Why don't we have a bet, how about it? If you win, I promise you one condition. If I win, you join me." Under his command. Fujitora was silent. After a while, he suddenly said, "Yes. But first I want to declare that no matter if I win or lose, I will never become a pirate." No problem. Mu Feng shrugged and said with a smile. Then let me shake the dice. There is no problem. Of course, if you want, you can also come. You shake it. Fujitora said lightly, not paying attention to these questions. As a person with the ability of the fruit of gravity, he can manipulate gravity to change the number of dice without destroying the color cup. Fujitora believes that he is invincible. Get out. Give me a break. Just as Mu Feng was about to shake the dice, a very arrogant voice suddenly sounded. Then I saw a bald head with a grim face, and a group of people came over. Some old gamblers who often hang around in the casino suddenly changed their expressions, tightening their gambling capital and slipping away. They are very clear about the origin of these guys. These people are thugs and bullies in this town, and they have private transactions with the casino. If anyone wins too much money, they will make people spit out the money. Advertisement. Walking in front of Mu Feng, the bald bully said arrogantly, Boy, see you have won a lot just now. Why? Are you out of the house? Come. Obediently divide me 80%. Otherwise, don't you today. I want to get out of this bed alive. Before he could finish his words, he was cut off by a dazzling sword aura. The dazzling sword spirit even overturned the roof of the casino behind him. Closing the long knife, Mu Feng put it next to Fujitora, and smiled. Sorry, I forgot to bring a weapon when I went out this time, so please borrow your knife. Please don't mind. Fujitora's brow furrowed slightly, but then let go. Said. It's okay. He didn't realize when Mu Feng took his long knife just now. Unconsciously, I became more and more curious about Mu Feng's identity. Come on, Zhao. Then start gambling. Mu Feng smiled lightly. Then he shook the color cup in his hand, and just shook it lightly a few times before covering it on the table. Here, let's get started. Do you suppress it, or do you suppress it? Mu Feng smiled. The points in the color cup are 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 3 points. Fujitora's observation haki is easy to perceive. As a blind person, Fujitora's observation haki is very good. But he didn't know what Mu Feng meant. If Mu Feng is also down, isn't this bet going on at all? However, Fujitora did not panic at all. Instead, he said indifferently, I bet, little. Betting on small. Mu Feng said with a smile. Although this round is a good choice to bet on small. But I said that I like strong or weak, big or small, so I bet big. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 222. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As soon as Mu Feng's voice fell, the 3 dice turned around at the same time, from 1 point to 6 points. Fujitora, who has been using observation haki to detect the movement of the color cup, naturally discovered this. The look on his face was even more surprised. As a person with the ability of the fruit of gravity, he could clearly feel that the gravity of the dice suddenly became lighter just now, which means that the dice was floating. He is also a devil fruit capable person. And it is also devil fruit that can control gravity. There are not many devil fruits that can control gravity. In addition to their own gravity fruits, the now known devil fruits originally belonged to Golden Lion's lion fruit. When Golden Lion is beheaded by Marine White Bear, lion fruit will reappear in the sea again. Is this young man in front of him the successor of lion fruit? Although he was very confused, Fujitora did not slow down at all. The power of the gravity fruit was used instantly. Although it cannot be seen from the outside, there is a light purple layer around the dice in the color cup. When Fujitora uses the power, a purple halo appears around the controlled object, but under Fujitora's control, the purple halo can disappear. But in the color cup, other people can't see it, 460, so why bother to do so? But in the next moment, the expression on Fujitora's face changed to amazement. Because he found that his gravity was being repelled by another force. Isn't lion fruit's ability only to make objects float? Advertisement. How could it still repel one's own gravity? Isn't he a capable person of lion fruit? What is that ability? Can you actually repel the gravity exerted by yourself? Fujitora's 2 eyes couldn't see. At this moment, Mu Feng's pupils turned into a circle of inwardly contracting patterns. But even if Fujitora could see, he wouldn't know what these eyes represent. No one in the entire pirate world will know. But if you are a ninja who has survived the 4th Ninja War, you can definitely recognize these eyes Rinnegan. The most noble pupil power known as the eye that controls life and death, is the ultimate pupil technique that originated from the ancestor of Chakra Otsutsuki Kagaya and the fruit of the sacred tree chakra. Rinnegan has extraordinary abilities and can use 6 techniques. It can be a creation god with the ability to create the world, or a god of destruction with the ability to destroy the world, and is definitely the ultimate pupil of the Naruto world. In the past few years, Mu Feng has not lagged behind in the improvement of Sharingan, the first ability he acquired, that is, his own pair of eyes. Now it has successfully broken the boundary of Sharingan level twice, reaching the level of LVMAX12 double pupil Rinnegan. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. With Rinnegan, Mu Feng naturally gained Rinnegan's ability, and Rinnegan's most basic ability is to control repulsion. After a few years, Mu Feng was naturally extremely proficient. Although Fujitora's gravity fruit is very strong, it is still far behind Mu Feng. After all, Mu Feng's strength lies there. He is already invincible in the pirate world. After a stalemate for a long time, the gravity controlled by Fujitora could not act on the dice. Finally, Fujitora breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Open the color cup." "Are you sure?" Mu Feng raised his eyebrows and asked with a chuckle. "Advertisement. I'm sure," Fujitora said lightly. The look is very calm. Even if he knew that the moment he opened the color cup was the time to prove that he had lost, but he didn't mean to go wrong, which is why Mu Feng admires Fujitora. Everyone in Marine Admiral pursues their own justice, but Mu Feng also feels that what Fujitora pursues is true justice. Lazy justice, vague justice, and absolute justice, in Mu Feng's view, BBFA, are all nonsense. Justice is built on the basis of the people, and it is a manifestation of right and wrong. If you abandon the people, how can you talk about justice? Although Mu Feng is not very cold about justice, it does not mean that he will not appreciate others' justice. Of course, it must be justice that can meet Mu Feng's taste. Like the absolute justice of the red dog, Mu Feng definitely saw one kill one. Mu Feng smiled and lifted the lid of the color cup. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Leopard, pass kill, the biggest point. It seems that I won. Mu Feng smiled. The old man knows. Fujitora nodded and said, "But before fulfilling the contract, you should also let the old man know your true identity." "Of course it should. Marine White Bear, Mu Feng." Mu Feng said lightly. Hearing the name reported by Mu Feng, Fujitora showed a surprised look on his face. He didn't expect Mu Feng to be Marine, but Fujitora thought it was a revolutionary army. Lieutenant General Naval Headquarters also serves as Marine Deputy General Staff. How? Mu Feng asked. Advertisement. That is, Mu Feng, replaced by Aokiji or Kizaru, absolutely dare not give such a promise. Lieutenant General Naval Headquarters is fortunate to say, although there are not many, there are still dozens of naval headquarters, but Marine Deputy Chief of Staff is different. Prior to this position has been vacant. Thinking about Crane, it becomes clear that her status in Marine is no less than that of Marine Admiral. Even if she is the Deputy Chief of Staff, she is not far from the regular one, completely surpassing Marine Admiral. The old man smiled, and Admiral took care of it. Fujitora nodded slightly. A smile appeared on his face. In fact, Fujitora wanted to join Marine a long time ago. After all, Fujitora is a person with justice in mind, and there is no platform for justice. However, as a strong man, Fujitora has her own arrogance. Moreover, his age is not suitable for starting from the bottom of the sea, so he has been waiting for an opportunity. In the original book, he waited until world conscription, and then directly became Marine Admiral. And now because of the existence of Mu Feng, he is waiting for Mu Feng. Because of the existence of Fujitora, Mu Feng didn't rush on. Within a few days, he rushed back to Naval Headquarters. But as soon as he returned to Naval Headquarters, Mu Feng felt something was wrong, giving people a feeling of wind and rain. A few flashed and went directly to Marshal Marine's office. The old man, Crane, Sengoku, the faces of the three of them were darker than the other. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 223. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Did something happen? Mu Feng frowned slightly and asked aloud. Sengoku just wanted to speak, but when he saw Fujitora standing behind Mu Feng, he couldn't help but cast a puzzled look at Mu Feng. He screamed, "His strength is very terrifying, at least he won't be inferior to Aokiji or Kizaru. I have invited him to join Marine as Lieutenant General of Naval Headquarters and Marine Deputy Chief of Staff." Mu Feng said without any cover, "Dao." The old man smiled and saw Marshal Sengoku. Fujitora said lightly. "Yeah." Sengoku nodded in response. There is no dissatisfaction with Mu Feng directly appointing Marine Deputy Chief of Staff without passing him. The whole Marine knows that Mu Feng is the only candidate for the next Marine Marshal. Even Sengoku has already stated bluntly, within 3 years, he will step down as Marshal Marine. And this is what Sengoku said 2 years ago. As the successor of Martial Marine, it is normal for Mu Feng to start training his team 1 or 2 years in advance. Seeing Sengoku's expression of hesitation, Mu Feng's heart sank suddenly. Shen Sheng said, "Did something happen to Ace?" Mu Feng's voice fell, and Sengoku gave him a surprised look. How did he know? Garp's expression on the side became more bitter. 3 days ago, Blackbeard Teach defeated Firefist Ace. Ace was sent to the world government in exchange for the position of 7 warlords of the sea. The world government decided to execute Ace a month later. The sentence was that Ace was Roger the One Piece. Moreover, the world government hopes to use Ace as a bait to eliminate the Whitebeard pirates. Therefore, the place of execution was set at the Oris Square in naval headquarters. Speaking of this, Sengoku glanced at Garp with a complicated expression. He didn't even think that the son of Roger, whom Marine couldn't find in the sea, would be adopted by Garp. Advertisement. Hearing Sengoku's words, Mu Feng was silent, his brows were full of gloom. Ace hunted down Blackbeard, Mu Feng knew it, and if it weren't for Ace's plea, Mu Feng would definitely kill Blackbeard directly. In Mu Feng's view, letting Ace lose to Blackbeard's hands is not all bad. At the very least, Ace can know how big this world is, and Whitebeard's name has long been useless. According to the original plot, Blackbeard will take Ace to naval headquarters in exchange for the position of 7 warlords of the sea, and if he does it himself, Ace is absolutely nothing. You can even kill Blackbeard directly. Dark fruit, as the most brutal fruit in devil fruit's history, might be a good thing. What Mu Feng didn't expect was that Blackbeard actually came and sent Ace to the world government in exchange for Shichibukai's position. Because Crocodile was defeated by Luffy in Alabaston, he was removed from Shichibukai and Shichibukai was vacant. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although 7 warlords of the sea is actually controlled by Mu Feng, they still belong to the world government in name, and the world government naturally has the right to appoint. It seems that I underestimated Blackbeard. Having been able to endure in the Whitebeard pirate group for more than 20 years, the city of Blackbeard is absolutely unfathomable. Where is Ace now? Mu Feng asked directly. Impel down, guarded by CP0. Sengoku said. Hearing Sengoku's words, Garp, who was silent on the side, trembled suddenly and unnoticeably. Ace is his grandson. Seeing his grandson being imprisoned in Impel Down, and there is nothing he can do, Garp's mood at this moment is absolutely like a knife. Old man, don't worry. I will take care of Ace's affairs. Looking at Garp, Mu Feng suddenly said. After speaking, he turned around and left. Advertisement. Mu Feng, what are you going to do? Sengoku said hurriedly. Hearing what Mu Feng said, Sengoku was shocked. He knows Mu Feng's character very well, and it is absolutely impossible to describe it as lawless. Ace is Mu Feng's brother, Sengoku knows this. If Mu Feng went directly to Impel Down, Sengoku would not think it would be impossible. Go to Impel Down to see, Ace will be executed soon. Before I die, I can't be a brother without even seeing it. Mu Feng said lightly. Find flowers. Seeing Mu Feng walking away, Sengoku's complexion changed and changed. Then he looked at the crane on the side and said, you immediately go to Impel Down, don't let Mu Feng do anything irreparable. Well, I'm going to Impel Down now. Crane nodded and said, she also knew the seriousness of the matter. If Mu Feng's head became hot and Ace was really robbed of Impel Down, then the matter would have happened. Crane and Mu Feng left, leaving only Sengoku and Garp in Marine's office. Looking at Garp, Sengoku cursed in a complex tone. You old bastard, your family can be the most troublesome in the entire ocean. I hope that this time there will be no big troubles. Otherwise, with the strength of Mu Feng, he said it may detonate the whole world. 0. Advertisement. Sengoku's words are not exaggerated at all. Now that Marine is able to suppress the entire sea, 70% of the credit must be attributed to Mu Feng. If there is something wrong with Mu Feng, the 4 emperors, the Revolutionary Army, and the Hunters Guild will all be waiting for the opportunity. So Sengoku really couldn't understand 5 elders' decision to execute Ace. What if he is Roger's son? Even if Roger is reborn, Sengoku believes that Mu Feng can easily suppress it. In order to execute a nominally sinful bloodline, Sengoku really didn't know what 5 elders thought of Mu Feng, and Sengoku was kicked in the head by a donkey. Senior Crane, why are you here? On the battleship, Mu Feng looked at Crane on the side. Asked with a wry smile. The Crane sitting aside took a look at Mu Feng and said directly. Sengoku was afraid that your kid would steal Ace directly during Impel Down, so he sent me to stare at you. You won't even beat me up. Senior Crane, look at what you are talking about. Even if I beat the old man, I dare not offend you. Mu Feng said helplessly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 224. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. White Bear Admiral, Lieutenant General Crane. Outside of Impel Down, Magellan and Hannibal, the two chief and deputy directors, were already waiting. Seeing Mu Feng and Crane disembark, they rushed to meet him. Director Magellan, long time no see. Crane nodded and greeted Magellan. However, Mu Feng was not in this mood, and said directly, Ace should be imprisoned in the 6th floor of Infinite Hell, now take me there immediately. But Ace is being guarded specially, and 5 elders ordered that he should not be allowed to see anyone before Ace is executed. Magellan hesitated. Really? Then after I met Ace, you just forgot about this. Isn't it okay if I haven't been here? Now, take me to the place where Ace is held. Mu Feng said lightly. The words are full of the overbearing 137 that cannot be rejected. Yes, Admiral the White Bear. Magellan opened his mouth and said. Although Magellan possesses combat power comparable to Admiral's level, when facing Mu Feng, he still feels weak and dare not refute it. Level 6 of Impel Down is Infinite Hell. The criminals involved here are all monster-level figures who are too vicious and erased from history. The prisoners in Infinite Hell are all terrifying guys. They will end up with death sentence or life imprisonment. Because the prisoners at this level have done a lot of evil, make some incidents beyond the cruel degree, so even if ordinary people know Impel Down, they will not know the Infinite Hell. Advertisement. There are not many prisoners here, only 10 or 20, but they were all famous big pirates on the sea, World Destroyer, Bondi Waldo, Lonely Red, Barloric Rider Field, the King of Evil, Abalo Pizarro. Each of them looked down upon each other, so it was usually deadly quiet here. Da, 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 rhythmic footsteps sounded. The idle villains in the cell heard the sound, and God came in an instant. Now it is not time to eat, so the sound of footsteps is nothing more than escorting the criminals in. Yo ha ha. Datu was caught again. Come on, tell my sister that there hasn't been any big things happening outside recently. A sharp, piercing voice sounded. Katrina, I think you want men to be crazy. If it weren't for this railing, I will go to meet you now. Ha ha. Arrogant voice. Pizarro, do you want to die? Catalina roared furiously. As the most ferocious female criminal in history, Catalina has a bad temper. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ah ha ha. Pizarro, I think you are suffocated and hungry enough. You are willing to go to even an ugly woman like Catalina. Yes, too hungry to eat. In the dark and silent Infinite Hell, there was a commotion. Seeing such a scene, Mu Feng frowned and said lightly, Give me all, shut up. With his eyes fixed, Conqueror's Hockey of LVMAX 13 level was released directly. In an instant, the Infinite Hell quieted down. Everyone looked ugly, all lying on the ground, their faces pale. It seemed as uncomfortable as being strangled by someone's neck, and even some foaming at the mouth while lying on the ground. Advertisement. Seeing this scene, the Crane standing beside Mu Feng was shocked. She can't believe that there is such a terrifying Conqueror's Hockey in the world. It's not that Mu Feng's Conqueror's Hockey caused any strange phenomenon. Conqueror's Hockey can make people coma, even foaming at the mouth, all of which are clear to the Crane. However, it is not this that Crane is shocked, but the target of Mu Feng Conqueror's Hockey, the Evil King, Abalo Pai Salo, Huge Battleship, San Juan Wolf, Crescent Moon Hunter, Catalina. These are all big pirates of New World. In Marine, it is also the strength of the top lieutenant general. Among other powerhouses, Conqueror's Hockey is a tool for cleaning up trash fish. But in Mu Feng, it's completely changed. No, it should be said. For Mu Feng, an opponent of this level is just a trash fish. Even at the peak of Whitebeard, there is no such terrifying Conqueror's Hockey. What is the strength of this kid, Mu Feng? The strongest in the world? No, I'm afraid it can only be described as the strongest in history. Without paying attention to the surrounding rubbish, Mufeng walked straight to the deepest part of Infinite Prison. Needless to think about it, Ace must be locked in the deepest position. Stop. White Bear. Just as Mufeng was about to open and close Ace's cell, suddenly a voice stopped him. Mufeng frowned, turned his head to look. He was a guy in a white suit with a mask on his face, and his tone revealed domineering arrogance. Advertisement. CP0. Mufeng said lightly. Although he was asking, Mufeng was able to determine his identity. Mufeng has killed 3 guys in such costumes before. Exactly. I am the current leader of CP0. As for my name, you don't need to know it. Just call me the officer. This guy arrogantly said. Before the execution, Ace is guarded by me. No one is allowed visit. This is the order of 5 elders. 5 elders order. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't receive it. Mufeng said something indifferently. The hand movement did not stop, opened the lock, and directly pushed the cells away. This immediately angered the guy at CP0. White Bear. Didn't you hear clearly what I said? Or say 0.4 you want to be executed this time like Ace? Tell you, 5 elders has been dissatisfied with you for a long time. Pointing to Mufeng, the guy said loudly roared, extremely arrogant. Can I understand this as your threat to me? Mufeng asked lightly. Of course you can understand it this way. This guy obviously didn't realize that he was provoking Mufeng, but he didn't know the consequences of provoking Mufeng. Very good. Mufeng nodded and said, as for threats, I usually wipe them out in the bud, so I'm sorry, sir. Mufeng, wait a minute. He realized something and wanted to stop Mufeng, but it was too late. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 225. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. His eyes became swords, and his domineering sword intent pierced the CP0 officer's eyes. As the leader of CP0. In any case, this guy is also a strong person with quasi-admiral level strength, and has already broken away from the level of miscellaneous fish. It's still a bit difficult to use Conqueror's Haki to deal with him. However, after Mufeng used Zhangyi, it was simply vulnerable. With only 30% of the sword intent, Mufeng destroyed his consciousness. Although he can't die, he will only be an idiot in the future. Looking at the CP0 leader with binocular dementia, Suru can also see that he has been deposed. Mufeng boy, hey. You are too impulsive. After all, he is the leader of CP0. Crane said helplessly, she had no time to stop just now. Moreover, how did Mufeng just make the move? She didn't understand at all. Even if it is too late, how can she stop it? Because he is the leader of CP0, he is still alive. Mufeng smiled and said, don't worry, Senior Crane. The world government won't bother me for this little thing. 11. However, Mufeng added in his heart, because now is not a good time. The 5 elders of 5 elders have never been very good to their senses. However, it is about to start a battle with the Whitebeard pirates. Dealing with yourself at this time is tantamount to being in a mess. It is not a good choice, but wait until the Whitebeard pirates are dealt with. Advertisement. The 4 emperors have gone to the 2nd place. Even if they don't have themselves, Marine has been able to suppress the situation in the entire sea, with all birds, good bows hidden, cunning rabbits dead, and lackeys cooking. Hee, my disobedient Marine Admiral can still what are the good consequences. But Mufeng didn't worry about this, he was the 5 idiots who could deal with it. As long as you dare to provoke me, I dare to chop off 5 old dog heads. Crane didn't say anything, she was thinking back to how Naval Headquarters explained to 5 elders. But Mufeng walked into the cell. Ace sat in the corner, bowed his head and said nothing. He didn't look up at the big movement just now. Before Mufeng had time to speak, Ace took the lead and said, Mufeng, you said, a sinful bloodline like me shouldn't live in this world. Yes, it shouldn't. Mufeng said 3 words bluntly. Hearing Mufeng's words, Ace was startled. He raised his head and glanced at Mufeng. There was originally a glorious eye, completely grayed out, and he muttered. Even Mufeng, do you think so? I knew that I should have died long ago. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Well, you should have died long ago. Mufeng nodded and said. Then he sat cross-legged on the ground, looked at Ace, and continued. You shouldn't have been born. If you were not born, your mother would not insist on protecting you for 20 months, and then you would die of exhaustion after you were born. The old man will not risk adopting you at the risk of being infamy. Me and Luffy, oh, and Sabo, will no longer be sad and desperate because you were executed by Marine, and even Luffy may lose faith directly. Advertisement. Your friends in the Whitebeard Pirates will no longer be desperate. They will even cry and shout to avenge you. Maybe they will attack naval headquarters. In that case, as a Marine Admiral, I will destroy the entire Whitebeard pirate group. Quote. At some point, Ace raised his head and looked at Mu Feng with a complicated expression. Looking at Ace, Mu Feng smiled and said, Now, do you still think that your own life is yours? You have a deadly mind, you can wait for your mother's, old man's, mine, Luffy, Sabo's and Whitebeard pirates' debts are paid off before they die. I will never stop you at that time, and I will help you find a better cemetery. Mu Feng, you are right. My life is not mine. It's mother's, old man's, yours, father's. Ace murmured, eyes finally glowing. However, something came to mind immediately. He looked at the sea tower stone cuffs on his wrists and ankles, and laughed at himself. But, even if I want to live, there is no way. Seeing Ace rekindle the courage to live, Mu Feng's goal this time has been achieved. He got up, walked out, waved his hand with his back to Ace, and said, Stay here for a month and think about your life. As for whether you can continue to live, you don't have to worry about this issue. Give it to me. After speaking, Mu Feng had walked out of the cell and closed the cell door. Thank you, Mu Feng. Ace in the cell lowered his head and muttered. At this moment, he just stepped out of infinite hell. Crane asked solemnly, Mu Feng boy, what do you want to do? Don't mess around. Advertisement. With Mu Feng's ability to cause trouble, Crane couldn't guess what Mu Feng was going to do. Don't worry, Senior Crane, I have a sense of measure. If I want to, I can rescue Ace today. Why wait so long? Mu Feng smiled. Hearing Mu Feng's words, he also breathed a sigh of relief. If Mu Feng is really unscrupulous, he can directly rescue Ace just now, and there is no need to waste other time. If your kid is measured, you won't be the grandson of that old bastard Garp. Although he was relieved, Crane said with a vicious tongue. In this regard, Mu Feng is very helpless, but he can only do nothing. Who made Crane his predecessor? Moreover, he treats himself well, and the things that guy can't handle are handled by the Crane for himself. Occasionally, if you poison yourself, you can only suffer. Just stepping on the battleship returning to naval headquarters, Bolu and Bolu's phone bugs rang. It was Sengoku. Mu Feng connected the phone worm and said with a smile, Hey, Marshal. Don't worry, I didn't remove Impel down. I am now preparing to return to the headquarters. Mu Feng. Celestial dragons were beaten in Chambord. The main offender was Straw Hat Crew, the accomplices were Trafalgar Law from the Heart Pirates, and Eustace Kid from the Kid Pirates, and wait for a bunch of supernovas with a reward of over 100 million. Sengoku said in a deep voice. If it's just a group of supernovas, Sengoku can send anyone to suppress it. But there is also a group of Luffy and the main culprit. Because of the relationship with Mu Feng, Sengoku can be said to be caught or not, nor is it not to be caught. No way, he can only throw this hot potato to Mu Feng. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 226. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Luffy, an idiot, Mu Feng said with a headache while clutching his head. Then he said, Marshal, leave this to me. I will rush to the Chambord Islands right now. Luffy, this bastard, should pack him up. After speaking, Mu Feng hung up the phone worm. He looked at the Crane on the side, smiled, and said, Senior Crane, it seems that you are going to return to the Marine headquarters by yourself. Some of me are busy again. It's okay. It's very close to the headquarters, so don't worry about my safety. Crane said. Comma 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 comma. Chambord Islands. Because of the battle between Mu Feng and Charlotte Linlin that year, all islands number 1 to number 10 of the Chambord archipelago were sunk. Therefore, the population auction venue opened by Doflamingo is set up on the 11th island. After Luffy defeated celestial dragons, the entire 11th island was completely messed up. No. It should be said that the entire Chambordian Islands has been greatly affected. Since the battle with the Whitebeard pirates is about to begin, all marine elites from all over the world will be transferred to naval headquarters, including the Chambord Islands. Therefore, the Marine Supreme Commander who is now stationed in the Chambord Islands is just a Major General. What are the instructions of the headquarters? Looking at a Lieutenant Colonel beside him, the Major General asked in a deep voice. Marshal Sengoku said that Admiral the White Bear will arrive soon. The Lieutenant Colonel exclaimed. Sure enough, after hearing the words, White Bear, all Marines present were refreshed, including this Major General. After all, Mu Feng is the strongest in the world. Not to mention just a group of over 100 million super new stars, even if they are the great pirates of New World, the White Bear Admiral can also defeat them all like a ruin. Advertisement. Look, on the sea, someone is coming galloping. Who is it? Can actually stand on the sea. It's Admiral the White Bear. Admiral the White Bear is here. Mu Feng traveled very fast on the sea. In just over 20 minutes, he hurried from Impel down to the Chambord Islands. You must know that the two are hundreds of nautical miles apart. Jumped high from the surface of the sea and landed gently on the ground. All Marines saluted Mu Feng together, their expressions were very enthusiastic. Mu Feng nodded and looked at the leading Major General with a smile. Major General Gun, long time no see. This Major General is the same Major General whom Mu Feng temporarily stationed at Chambord that year. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. White Bear Admiral. Major General Gun flushed. He did not expect that in the past so many years, Mu Feng would still remember him as a small person. Gun had a feeling of incomparable glory, and the surrounding Marines also looked at him enviously. Well, you first take the soldiers back to repair, and leave the rest to me. Mu Feng said lightly, and a few flashes disappeared. The first 30 islands in the Chambord Islands are all inaccessible. Few people who are active here are clean guys. When they saw Mu Feng walking on the street, everyone was in a panic. That's Marine Admiral White Bear. Run for your life. Run away. Run away. After reacting, everyone was running away. But even if they don't run away, Mu Feng is not interested in these trash fish. Advertisement. But the world is so big, there will always be people with abnormal brains. Actually, a pirate picked up a gun and pointed at Mu Feng. Is that guy the strongest Marine Admiral White Bear in the world? Juan, what if I kill him, then I will be famous. Don't be silly. That's Marine's highest combat power. Someone nearby shouted. However, this guy was obviously mad for being famous, and he couldn't listen to other people's advice at all. Directly aiming at Mu Feng, pulling the trigger, the bullet shot at Mu Feng quickly. He didn't find out. Seeing that Mu Feng showed no signs of avoiding, this guy was full of excitement. He could already imagine that after he killed Mu Feng, Marine wanted him, and he offered an unprecedented amount of reward, and then his name resounded across the sea. But the next moment, he was completely stunned. I saw the bullet staying in the midair tens of meters in front of Mu Feng out of thin air, turning directly into powder. After killing Charlotte Linlin, Mu Feng's Conqueror's Haki gained the crushing attribute. Even with countless missiles, Mu Feng can turn them into powder in an instant. Stupid. How could Marine's highest combat power be so easy to deal with? His companion had already begun to run for his life without looking back. This guy reacted, threw away the gun in his hand, and began to run for his life. Do you want to escape now? It's too late. Mu Feng chuckled lightly. The mammoth blade pulled out, raising his hand to slash it. Advertisement. The pale sword aura slashed out directly, like a gallop. The terrifying sword aura not only directly annihilated the fleeing guys, but also the almond mangrove not far away was cut off the trunk. It's just random. Is that the Marine Admiral White Bear? The world's strongest. On the roof next to him, one of the supernovae Apu said. Master Apu, let's run for our lives. The man on the side was a little scared. Idiot. What's the point of sneaking away? Apu smiled. What do you want to do? The enemy just wants to make fun. Apu said. Able to reach the Chambord Islands and become a supernova. Money, but they all fought all the way, smoothly. Basically there was no defeat before, and naturally one is more arrogant. Mu Feng also noticed Apu, but he ignored him. No matter how good he thought he was, in Mu Feng's eyes, he was just a clown. Here Mu Feng had just walked a few streets and met a group of pirates. The Hawkins pirates. The captain is Basil Hawkins, born in the North Sea, offering a reward of 249 million Bailey's supernova, demon fruit power. Seeing the appearance of Mu Feng, everyone in the Hawkins pirates changed their faces suddenly. Captain Hawkins, you run away first. All his crew members stood in front of Hawkins and shouted, it seems that this guy will be quite popular. Don't be nervous. Today's fate is doomed, Hawkins said lightly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 227. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Fate is doomed. Mu Feng looked at Hawkins with interest and said, then can you calculate whether your fate today is dead or alive? Looking up at Mu Feng, Hawkins took out a deck of cards. After playing a hand, he put the poker cards still in the air and said, fight 100% failure rate, escape success rate, 0.7%, defense avoidance rate, 0.76%, survival mortality, 0%. My prediction is over. Hawkins looked up at Mu Feng and said, as the prediction over, I think I can't die. Well, you supernovas are really arrogant. Mu Feng said with a smile. Raising his hand, a pale sword aura blasted towards Hawkins. Together with the countless buildings behind Hawkins, they all collapsed under Mu Feng's slash. As expected of Admiral, his skill is really extraordinary. Hidden DJing Apu could not help but stunned. He would not have thought of it when he was exhausted. This was just a casual attack by Mu Feng. Huh, isn't it hurt? Interesting ability. Mu Feng suddenly raised his eyebrows. Looking to the side, Hawkins stood there unharmed. It's horrible, as expected to be the strongest in the world. Hawkins looked at Mu Feng and said solemnly, only 10 were prepared for 337 to deal with Admiral. To be honest, it's really a little frustrating. Advertisement. When Hawkins spoke, his arm turned into straw. Then 2 straw villains fell out, and the straw villains were cut off. Obviously, it was the straw villain who resisted Mu Feng's slash for Hawkins. Just as Hawkins was speaking, a figure of Kuisho suddenly fell in front of him. With 2 wings growing behind him, it was Ergi, one of the supernovas, the weird monk, and behind Ergi was another pacifist approaching. Woo, can't stand it, it's so strong. Looking at the pacifist, Yerki smiled bitterly. And at this moment, he just turned his head and saw Mu Feng, his expression even more ugly. It's really bad luck to get home. There is Marine Admiral in front, Shichibukai in the back. Huh, could it be said that this time is really inevitable? Yerki was desperate. Not necessarily. You are not dead for the time being. Hawkins said lightly. You are Hawkins of the North Sea. Ha ha ha. The enemy is in the middle. You are still in the mood to make a joke. BBDB, got up and stood beside Hawkins. At this moment, the pacifist on the other side of the street was suddenly kicked over. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What? Someone got involved again. Yerki said. Although the words are very repellent, it was a joy to see Ergi, because it was the famous pirate. Red flag. Drake, former Major General Marine, capable of dinosaur fruit. Seeing Mu Feng, Drake's pupils shrank suddenly. Unlike others, although he has not seen Mu Feng make a move, he knows the horror of Marine Admiral very well. It's over. I didn't expect to encounter a white bear. Drake's face was extremely ugly. Wow, there is a good show to watch this time, it's very interesting. Ding Yin Apu, who was hiding on the side, said with a smile, but he thought that what he was hiding was very secret. Advertisement. Magic Hawkins, Strange Monk Yerki, Chichi Drake, and the DJing Apu that I thought I didn't find. All of a sudden, I caught 4 of them. I don't need it anymore. I'll look for them one by one. Mu Feng chuckled lightly. Hearing Mu Feng's words, DJ Apu, who was hiding on the roof, looked ugly. He thought he had hidden it well. When did you find me? Apu asked in a deep voice. When is it? Mu Feng scratched his head, thought about it, and said, just when you said that. The enemy is just going to be funny. I also agree with you, so I have been there. Please play with you. After that, Mu Feng shrugged. Damn it. Apu gritted his teeth. The gaze looking at Mu Feng was full of anger, but instead of attacking Mu Feng rashly, he jumped from the roof and stood with Hawkins, Yerki, and Drake. The four people stood together, and their confidence seemed to be more sufficient. I was choked by that guy just now, but now I am like two people. While speaking, Urji's body suddenly increased several times. Let me see how powerful the legendary world is. Oh. Dingyin Apu made a strange sound, and his teeth turned into things like piano keys. Fate is doomed. I won't die here today. The appearance of demons. Hawkins activated the fruit ability, and the whole person turned into a straw. Drake turned into a dinosaur without saying a word. He knows better than the other three, if he doesn't work hard now, but he will die. Even if it is desperate, the probability of surviving is very low, maybe it doesn't exist. The four seemed to have a tacit understanding and attacked Mu Feng at the same time. Advertisement. The pirates around who were running for their lives also stopped. The four supernovas played against the strongest marine white bear in the world, and they all wanted to know what the final result would be. Seeing the four men attacking him, Mu Feng was helpless. Really, I thought that after winning a few games in the first half of the Grand Line, I thought I was invincible. I didn't want to bother about you. But since you have already shot at me, I must be ready to accept death. Mu Feng said lightly. The moment the voice fell, the mammoth blade in Mu Feng's hand was swept out. Urji, who rushed to the forefront, was shattered into powder by his domineering sword intent at the moment he came into contact with Mu Feng's slash. Next was Drake, who had only time to let out a scream, and the huge body of Tyrannosaurus was cut into two directly from the middle. Seeing such a scene, Arp and Hawkins couldn't help but numb their scalp. None of them expected. Marine Admiral was so terrifying. Without even thinking about it, I turned around and wanted to escape. However, it is too late. The moment he turned around, the slash wiped out Apu, and the 10 stand-in scarecrows Hawkins prepared were all destroyed by the incomparable sword intent in an instant. Polar Bear vs 4 Supernovas. It was just a meeting time, and the 4 supernovae all died. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 228. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The pirates around who saw this scene were all shocked, and they swallowed subconsciously. I thought that 4 supernovas with a reward of more than 100 million won't be able to win Mu Feng the White Bear, but at least they can do it for a few rounds. I didn't expect to be stunned all at once. The strongest in the world. It would be too scary. None of the pirates around dared to escape, because they were so scared that their legs were weakened. Without even looking at these pirates, Mu Feng left directly. When Mu Feng walked away, the group of pirates who didn't even dare to gasp just now. It can be said that I finally breathed a sigh of relief, began to discuss. Is this the Marine's highest combat power, the strongest white bear in the world? It's horrible right. I think we should stop being pirates. On the other side of the island, Straw Hat Crew is fighting a pacifist. Carved hooves soccer a blowing snow. Facing the pacifist, Chopper directly ate the Lambo pill, his body swelled suddenly, and countless hoof prints covered the pacifist, as dense as snowflakes. But pacifists are, after all, a secret weapon developed by Vegapunk. The strength and flexibility of the body cannot be underestimated. Chopper's attack hit the pacifist, and it only sank the pacifist's body, and did not cause any substantial harm. Frankie boxing. Advertisement. Frankie punched the pacifist's head, but the pacifist didn't react at all on his face, and punched Frankie with his backhand. The flower of spiders. Robin reacted very quickly, using his arms to form a spider web and catching Frankie. Otherwise, Frankie, who fell to the ground, would definitely be seriously injured. Feyan stabs. Brooke went from top to bottom, piercing the pacifist's shoulder with the cane knife in his hand. But what made Brooke panicked was that his cane knife got stuck on the pacifist, and the pacifist was opening his mouth to shoot laser light at him. Kill Atlas Comet. It was Usopp, who directly hit the pacifist with a killer star, and Brooke also took advantage of this opportunity to rush to escape, and the two ran faster than one. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At this time, the pacifist's movements suddenly became rigid. When Frankie saw this, his eyes suddenly lit up and shouted. Usopp's killer star hit his mouth, which may cause short circuits in some parts of his body. Although his skin is very hard, there is blood flowing out under the skin. He is just a transformed flesh and blood like me. At this moment, the pacifists are ready to launch the laser again, with the goal of Nami. He found you. Usopp, who was hiding by the side, suddenly shouted. Nami's face was panicked, too late to react. 80 rounds of flowers and 4 trees. Robin reacted most quickly. The pacifist's shoulders grew out of 4 arms, his arms clenched fists, and they hit his head heavily. The pacifist's mouth closed, and a laser beam exploded in his mouth. Now release. Thunder and lightning alert. Lightning gun weather. Nearly killed by a pacifist, Nami was naturally very angry. Holding the weather bar that Usopp had researched for it in his hand, it hit the pacifists, although it did not cause any substantial harm to the pacifists. Advertisement. But I have to say that the effect is really cool. Hurry up and decide the winner. Sanji said. Kick him here. Zoro on the side tied his headscarf tightly, bid a word of peace, staring at the pacifist, and said. Don't do it, Sanji said. Zoro and Luffy have just defeated a pacifist, and Zoro is still seriously injured. Devil's Foot, the finishing touch shot. Sanji's entire calf turned crimson and hit the pacifist, although he could not directly kill the pacifist. But many parts fall out of the pacifist. Ghost Chi. 9 blades flow. Ashura magic 9 flashes. At this moment, Zoro seemed to separate out 2 more figures, 9 sword shadows, all cut on the pacifist, blood rushing. Look for flowers. Rubber eraser giant revolving bomb. Luffy directly opened the 3rd gear and bounced into the sky. The huge fist, several times larger than the massive pacifism, banged directly down. After this, the pacifism could no longer move. That guy finally doesn't move. But he still feels like he will get up at any time. It's really scary. Nami looked at the pacifist and gasped. Although I want to take a good rest, it's better to hide it first. If we are discovered now, we will be wiped out. Sanji said. At this moment, the Straw Hat Pirates group strength is still slightly more abundant, only Sanji. Advertisement. Papa Papa. Suddenly, there was a sound of applause. The Straw Hat crew people were surprised, and Zoro even stood up with a sword. But when he saw the visitor clearly, Zoro breathed a sigh of relief, and said tuggingly, so it's you. Sanji, Usopp, and Chopper also breathed a sigh of relief. Nami even rushed directly, hugging Mu Feng's arm. Pretending to be angry. Big brother Mu Feng, why have you come to see us all for so long? It looks like it hasn't been 2 months yet. Mu Feng smiled. Hey, Usopp, who is that guy? Frankie on the side stabbed Usopp on the side and asked in a low voice. Brook also looked confused. They joined the Straw Hat after Alabaston, so they have never seen Mu Feng. He is Marine Admiral White Bear. Usopp whispered. What? Marine Admiral? The world's strongest white bear. Frankie and Brook both looked shocked. As soon as they spoke, they hurriedly covered their mouths, for fear that they might be heard by Mu Feng on the side. Don't worry, he is Luffy's brother and won't catch us. Before, he stayed on our boat for many days. Usopp waved his hand and said. Mu Feng, why are you here? Luffy said happily. Isn't it a good thing you did? Don't you know that after anyone hits celestial dragons, Marine Admiral will be dispatched? Mu Feng cast a blank look at Luffy. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 229. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing Mu Feng's words, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates group was shocked. Did Mu Feng come to arrest himself and others this time? The gaze at Mu Feng also became complicated. Brother Mu Feng, are you here to catch us? Nami, who was holding Mu Feng's arm, looked at Mu Feng and asked in a low voice, looking really distressing. Catch you? If you really catch you, it won't be me. Mu Feng smiled. Seeing Mu Feng said this, everyone was relieved. If Mu Feng really wanted to arrest them, it would be one thing if he could not fight. But, first of all, they don't want to face Mu Feng's sword. Then Mu Feng, why are you here? Nami asked. Scratching Nami's nose, Mu Feng smiled and said, come and see you guys, 863. Also, I warn you that you can't enter the new world yet. At the end of the speech, Mu Feng cast his gaze to Luffy, who was aside. Sure enough, Mu Feng's voice just fell. Luffy over there was dissatisfied. Why? I must become one piece. No one can stop me. Why? Ha ha. Mu Feng chuckled twice, then looked at the pacifist on the side. He opened his mouth and said, "This kind of junk goods, you all need all your staff to defeat. For the world government, this is just the latest weapon. In New World, it is only at the level of trash fish. With your current strength go to New World, you can only die, understand? That's why I don't allow you to step into New World. No. Anyway, I must go to New World," Luffy said loudly. Advertisement. The perseverance in his eyes is hard to shake by anyone. Really? I knew it would be like this. Mu Feng was helpless. Then he looked at Luffy and said coldly, "If I said I can't go, understand? No. No one can stop me from becoming the One Piece. If anyone stops me, I will fly anyone, including you, Mu Feng. Luffy is obviously the one who cannot persuade me." Oh. Mu Feng raised his eyebrows and looked at Luffy with a smile. "You have become more skilled. Do you want to fight me? Yes, if you can beat me. No. This is impossible. If you can hold on to me for 3 minutes, oh, 3 minutes may be too long. If you can hold on for 1 minute, I won't stop you anymore, how?" "Huh. Mu Feng, I am very strong now. I won't lose to you so soon," Luffy shouted loudly. At the same time, the second gear was opened, ready to fight. The second gear is Luffy's unique move. After activation, Luffy's skin will turn pink and steam will appear, as if using a stimulant. Rubber second gear rocket launcher. The pink fist blasted towards Mu Feng. But Mu Feng just tilted his head and dodged. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The ultimate observation hockey. Mu Feng can even predict Luffy's attack after 20 seconds, and he can easily dodge it without looking. "You guys, let's go together." While avoiding Luffy's attack, Mu Feng glanced at Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, Frankie and others, and said with a smile. Sanji and Zoro looked at each other and attacked at the same time. Devil Wind Legs, the highest grade ground meat. Advertisement. 3 swords flow 600 trouble winds. Although the two of them are not pleasing to the eyes of anyone, but in terms of the tacit understanding of fighting, the two of them are definitely the tacit understanding of the entire Straw Hat Pirates. 80 rounds of flowers blooming, 4 trees, heavy blow. Robin also launched an attack. The wind is coming. Frankie held out his hands. The whole person assumes a weird posture. A powerful air cannon fired from the hole of the palm heel strike is powerful enough to destroy a huge sailboat. Revolutionary dance assault. Carved hoof cross. Killing meteor shuriken group. Brook, Chopper, and Usopp attacked at the same time. Only Nami stood by with the weather stick, she couldn't bear to attack Mu Feng. And Nami knows very well that his attack will not cause any harm to Mu Feng. "I don't even bother to dodge such an offense." Mu Feng laughed. When the voice fell, a blue flame suddenly ignited on his body, forming an exoskeleton, Susanoo, and it was only the first form. The attacks of Straw Hat crew all fell on Susanoo. Advertisement. But he couldn't shake Susanoo's defense at all. Although it was only the first form, Jack, the drought of the year, did his best to break it. Now Straw Hat crew is far from that kind of strength. 10 seconds have passed, there are still 50 seconds, come on. I just stood here and didn't move, you can't beat me. It's too bad. Mu Feng and Susanoo sat directly on the ground, speaking Shigu all of Guo as contemptuous. Mu Feng's attitude angered Straw Hat crew even more. Especially Zoro and Sanji both attacked Mu Feng frantically. After more than half a minute, the attack of a group of people in straw hats could not even cut a bone of Susanoo. The three of Sanji, Zoro, Luffy are even more exhausted. Stop playing, it's almost a minute. Then, next, let me get rid of you all in an instant. Mu Feng said lightly, his tone seemed serious. The moment the voice fell, Conqueror's Haki was released instantly. Straw Hat crew, under the pressure of Mu Feng's Conqueror's Haki, including Luffy, all fell to the ground like Dumpling 5.2, lying on the ground, unable to get up. Guys like Usopp, Chopper, Brook, and Frankie, who are not very determined in their will, even spit out foam. Although Mu Feng is very incomprehensible, Brook, the skeleton, spit out foam by which organ in the body? Of. It took 58 seconds to defeat you. I'm sorry, but you didn't last 1 minute. And I tell you, even Conqueror's Haki, I also controlled my strength just now. People who can reach this level in New World are like Crucian carp who cross the river. Ah, Luffy, If you want to see your companions die in front of you one by one, go to New World. After speaking, Mu Feng smiled apologetically at Nami and left directly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 230. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The scene of the auction of human beings on the 11th island of the Chambord archipelago. Have you not caught it yet? Celestial Dragon's Cerulean Palace was furious, and Charmako Saint, also his fiancé, was lying on the ground aside. Master Zalulia Palace also asked you to stay calm. Now the White Bear Admiral is chasing them personally. I must catch them. It's only a matter of time. Major General Gun said to Zalulia Palace, who was wearing a bubble hood, with sincerity and trepidation. You useless idiots. Zalulia Palace shouted. Beat my fiancé as he is now, and let go of all our slaves. What do they regard as the blood of the creator of this world? I'm very sorry, but please calm down your anger. In addition to apologizing, Major General Gun couldn't do anything else at this meeting. Slap. Shah Lulia slapped Major General Gun's face with a slap. Angrily said, what are you doing here, still staying here? Don't go and find them for me. When this lady catches them, you must let them taste the feeling that life is better than death. Yes, Lord Zalulia Palace, 11. Major General Gun said hurriedly. Then he was ready to order people to conduct a search. But at this moment, Mu Feng walked over from a distance. White Bear Admiral. Seeing Mu Feng's return, Major General Gun could be said to be relieved. He finally didn't have to face Cerulean Palace anymore. Huh, didn't you go back and fix it? Why are you still here? Mu Feng asked. Advertisement. Gun did not speak, but looked at Zalulia Palace. White Bear. Why did you come back slowly? What about people? That kid with a straw hat. Seeing Mu Feng's return, Zalulia Palace immediately questioned. Looking at Zalulia Palace, Mu Feng frowned, a trace of disgust flashed in his eyes. With a calm expression, he said, let go. What are you talking about? Shah Lulia Palace didn't react a bit, obviously taken aback. I said let it go. Mu Feng looked as expected. You. Do you know what you are doing? Shah Lulia pointed at Mu Feng and reprimanded. Humble bastard, hurry up and give me. Snapped. Before Shah Lulia Palace had finished speaking, she was interrupted by a loud slap. It was Mu Feng who smashed the headgear worn by Shah Lulia Palace and slapped her face. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Everyone was stunned, deadly silent. No one thought that someone would dare to slap celestial dragons. Moreover, it is Marine Admiral. What happened? Is this world crazy? Zalulia Palace was also stunned, and for a while, there was no reaction. Until a while, the place where Mu Feng's slap on his face was swollen. Zalulia Palace raised her hand and touched it, and it was even more painful. He covered his face with one hand, and pointed at Mu Feng with the other finger. His eyes were full of horror, and his whole body was trembling uncontrollably, and he said in disbelief. You dare to hit me? Advertisement. What's wrong with beating you? I'm teaching you for your dead father and brother. Don't mess with people who shouldn't be offended someday and get trampled to death again. Mu Feng said lightly. And listen to Mu Feng mentioning the Saint Roswad and the Saint Charles. Zalulia Palace could be said to be trembling with anger, if it weren't for his father and brother were killed by the green monster. Then how could she marry Charma Kushung so early? White Bear. Wait, I must let 5 elders remove you from your post. Then become my slave. No. I want you to die as much as possible. Shah Lulia's complexion turned pale and roared like a madman. In this regard, Mu Feng's answer is very simple. Snapped. 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 3 more big mouths slapped directly on the face of Zalulia Palace. 2 slaps on the left, 2 slaps on the right. Now, the faces on both sides are swollen the same height. It was like 2 thick slices of bread stuck on her face, and she couldn't even speak clearly. Woo, ooh, ooh. Zalulia Palace pointed to Mu Feng, mumbling something in her mouth. Anyway, sobbing, Mu Feng didn't hear a word. Since I didn't hear it, then Mu Feng Quan is praised by Zalulia Palace. She smiled and said, Zalulia Palace does not have to be excited, these are what I should do. After all, your father and brother died miserably. As Marine Admiral, I have a responsibility and an obligation to educate you on their behalf. If you have to thank me and give me the position of 5 elders. Ha ha. Of course, it seems that you don't have such a big power. Advertisement. Hearing Mu Feng's cynicism, Cherulia Palace really couldn't stand it. Turning his eyes, he passed out directly on the spot, just as tragic as her fiancé. Comma 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 comma. Holy Land Mary Geois. The Whitebeard pirate group is coming soon. Sengoku has just given Mu Feng orders, and 917 rushes to Mary Geois non-stop. Regarding the execution of Ace at Olis Square, a detailed discussion is needed. 5 elders, Military Commander Kong, Marine Marshal Sengoku. The 7 people who stood at the pinnacle of power in the entire world sat around a round table, discussing how to deal with Whitebeard, the strongest pirate. With Mu Feng here, we don't have to worry about Whitebeard at all, Sengoku said. No, I worry about Bai Shang the most. Don't forget, Ace is his brother. And Bai Shang's character is unscrupulous. Bald head and round face, 5 elders pointed out bluntly. Sengoku was dumb, but couldn't explain it. Because he really couldn't tell what Mu Feng could do, or rather, what a big basket he smashed. Well, although the White Bear has a casual personality. But in full view, it is impossible for him to turn to the pirates. We will not count the combat power of the White Bear. With the help of Aokiji, Kizaru, and aka Inu, 3 people, plus go to Shichibukai, as well as the army commander, there is still time to be included. Isn't it possible to pay for an old Whitebeard? Flat Hat 5 elders said solemnly. Suddenly thinking of something, the Flat Hat 5 elders looked at Sengoku and asked, by the way, Sengoku, what happened to the Chambord Islands? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 231. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I left it to Mu Feng to solve the Chambord Island matter. Sengoku was a little embarrassed, and then explained, and this matter can only be handled by him. Hearing Sengoku's words, 5 elders became silent, his eyes flickering. The atmosphere has also become a little dignified, and time and space broke the silence and said, forget it, when you don't care about these things, the White Bear is at most letting the Straw Hat crew people go. Our main energy now should be on dealing with the Whitebeard pirates. On this matter of the regiment. Report. Suddenly a world government official rushed in, looking panicked. What's the matter? Don't you know that an emergency meeting is being held now? 5 elders with a round face and a bald head obviously reprimanded the officials who came in with some discomfort. I'm sorry, Lord 5 elders. But something really happened. The officials who broke in, discovered that they were wrong, quickly explained. What's the big deal? The Flat Hat 5 elders asked with a frown, also very unhappy. He doesn't think there is anything important now than dealing with the Whitebeard pirates. Celestial Dragons. Celestial Dragons was beaten. The official said hastily. Hearing the official's report, the faces of only a few people present, including Sengoku and Sora, were not very good. He rushed in so hurriedly and scorched in a hurry, just to report something that has happened for a long time. When are we free? Advertisement. Seeing the gloomy expression of 5 elders, the official reacted. Explained hurriedly. This time it's not Charmako Saint, it's Zalulia Palace. What's going on? Speak clearly. Flat Hat 5 elders said solemnly. It's Admiral the White Bear. Admiral the White Bear didn't know why, and he had a conflict with Her Excellency Cherulia Palace. Then he hit Her Excellency Cherulia Palace, and now Her Excellency Cherulia Palace is still unconscious. The official was busy. Explained. The 7 people present stood up in an instant. What are you talking about? The White Bear hit Zalulia Palace. 5 elders with a round face and bald head glared at the official of the world government and questioned again. Not only him, but the few people present couldn't believe this. Yes. Yes. The official's voice trembled. Although 5 elders with a round face and bald head did not use Conqueror's Hockey, it was just the aura of the superior, and the oppressive people couldn't breathe. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What's a joke? Bai Shang, does he want to rebel against the world government? Bai Hu 5 elders blows his beard and stares, very angry. The beating of celestial dragons is unheard of in the history of the world government for 800 years, and it was Marine Admiral who beat celestial dragons this time. Marine Admiral beat celestial dragons. Even if it is a person with a big brain, he dare not think about it. This will definitely become a black spot that the world government will never erase. No. It should be said that it is a joke, it is a shame. Advertisement. Sengoku's complexion didn't know how to describe it: pale, iron blue, black-faced. Anyway, it was Wuhua 8 Gate. He really didn't expect Mufeng to cause such trouble. And the army commander Kong, with a completely irrelevant expression. What the hell is this guy Bai Shang doing? Sengoku, contact Bai Shang right now, I want to talk to him. The voice of 5 elders in the flat hat was also full of anger. Yes. Sengoku hesitated and said, take out a phone worm and dial. It took Bolu and Bolu for a long time. Finally connected, a light and fluttering voice rang from the phone bug. It was Mufeng. Hey, Marshal, what's the matter? That straw hat. Before Mufeng finished speaking, he was interrupted by Sengoku's roar. Asshole, do you know what you are doing? What a disaster did you do? Marshal, what are you talking about? Mufeng pretended to be puzzled. Before Sengoku had time to speak this time, the flat hat 5 elders on the side asked in a deep voice. Admiral, the White Bear, why did you beat celestial dragons in the Chambord Islands? Beat celestial dragons? How could I do such a bad thing? However, I beat a guy who pretended to be celestial dragons today. This guy actually dared to point fingers at me, Marine Admiral, and he really should be locked up in the Great Undersea Prison. Ah, Mufeng said lightly. White Bear, are you pretending to be confused with us? 5 elders with a round face and bald head shouted angrily. Cherulia Palace is the real celestial dragons, the descendants of the 20 kings. Advertisement. Oh, it's really celestial dragons. I thought it was a counterfeit. Really? Let me say, what do celestial dragons look like? The world government should have a roster, and then add photos or something. Saying that I am celestial dragons, isn't that messy? Or right, I am celestial dragons, on their heads so that I can tell them clearly. No, you see now, isn't it just an oolong? Well, Mufeng was stunned. Hearing Mufeng's words, 5 elders was barely blown up. Make a roster and write on your head. Think of celestial dragons as cattle. But in Mufeng's eyes, celestial dragons are really similar to cattle. Mufeng hadn't finished speaking, and his tone became colder, and he said coldly, oh, then I did fight celestial dragons, so what can I do? In my opinion, Tianlong, good money Jiao, people should be beaten. I don't like to be a puppet of celestial dragons like you do. Mufeng's voice was full of mockery. In the plot, even the red dog dared to attack 5 elders. Then why didn't Mufeng dare? Then, without giving 5 elders a chance to speak, Mufeng directly hung up the phone worm. Toot, toot, toot. Listening to the busy tone in the phone bug, 5 elders' expressions were more embarrassing than the other. The faces of Sengoku and Sora were also not much better. Asshole, who do you think you are talking to, Bai Shang? Who does he think he is? How dare to despise celestial dragons? Did he put us 5 elders in sight? Marine Admiral, his behavior is worse than a pirate. Bastard. 5 elders scolded Mufeng one after another. How angry and angry. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 232. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If this happened to Marine other than Mufeng, there would be no doubt at all, and he would be arrested and taken into custody in the Great Undersea Prison. Even Kizaru and Aokiji were deprived of their positions. But the protagonist of this incident is Mufeng, not only Marine Admiral, the strongest in the world, but also the only candidate for the next Marine Marshal. This gave 5 elders a feeling of beeping. Moreover, at this point in time, the world government has declared war with the Whitebeard pirates, and the war is about to start. It is just a Whitebeard pirate, and the world government needs to be prepared. If this matter is handled too drastically, it caused Mufeng to rebel, and the consequences were unimaginable. The threat level of Mufeng alone is comparable to that of the Whitebeard pirates. Moreover, according to 5 elders' investigations over the years, although the reason is not known, Mufeng and the Hunter Guild are very close. This is one of the reasons why 5 elders has always been suspicious of Mufeng. The existence of the Hunters Guild is no less than 24263 royal level pirate groups. Especially the two terrifying monsters Senju Hashirama and Aizen Sosuke. If Mu Feng rebels, the Hunters Guild will inevitably smash in. And don't forget that there are still revolutionary troops staring at the world government. At that time, it is estimated that the world government will be in a dangerous situation that has never been seen in 800 years. Advertisement. So in any case, can't move Mu Feng. At the very least, at this critical juncture, Mu Feng can never be moved. This matter can only be swallowed by crushing teeth. I will come forward to stabilize the palace of Zaluli. Everything will be said after the war with the Whitebeard pirates is over. Flat Hat 5 Elders said. Okay. Basically the matter will be handled according to what we just said. Sengoku, Sora, you two will go back and make preparations first, and I will let the army commander cooperate with you. 5 elders didn't have any thoughts after such things. Continue the meeting and end the meeting directly. Sengoku and Sora got up, said goodbye, and left directly. 5 elders did not get up and leave, and the meeting room fell silent again. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After a long while, 5 elders with a round face and bald head broke the silence and said bitterly, the white bear must be removed as soon as possible, otherwise it will become a disaster if it waits for a few years. Now maybe it's a disaster. Baihu 5 elders said in a deep voice. Well, I agree with the fourth. Boss, what do you think? Said the blonde 5 elders. He turned his gaze to the Flat Hat 5 elders, as if asking for advice. Flat Hat 5 elders is silent, squinting, and tapping the table with their fingers rhythmically. After a long while, he looked at 5 elders in a white robe with a sword, who had been silent next to him, and asked. Second, if you are against the white bear, are you confident to defeat him? Hearing the words of 5 elders with a flat hat, a sharp light flashed in the eyes of 5 elders with a sword. Advertisement. Shen said. 3 years ago, the white bear slashed through the sea in Seymour Shimura. I went to see it personally. I am indeed worthy of the world's largest swordsman. Swordsmanship has definitely reached me the same level. After a pause, he held the long knife in his hand tightly. Continued. But I, holding the first generation ghost, can definitely kill him. Upon hearing 5 elders holding the sword saying that Mu Feng's swordsmanship had reached his level, a flash of surprise flashed in the eyes of the Flat Hat 5 elders. Because he knows better than anyone, the horror of holding the sword 5 elders, even calling it the strongest 5 elders, is not exaggerated. He didn't have any doubts about it until he heard that 5 elders with the sword said that he could kill Mu Feng. The Flat Hat 5 elders nodded. BBCJ opened his mouth and said. In this case, after dealing with the Whitebeard pirates, look for an opportunity to kill the white bear. At the same time, you must not let the Hunter Guild react. Just in case, I will persuade celestial dragons to prepare them to use the national treasure to avoid accidents. Happened. We want everyone to know that the world belongs to the world government, and the world government belongs to our 5 elders. Okay. Second, as it should be. The Flat Hat 5 elders' voice fell, and the remaining 5 elders nodded in agreement. Comma 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 comma. Mu Feng, who left the Chambord Islands, did not return to naval headquarters. I beat celestial dragons and returned to naval headquarters. It is estimated that not only Marshal Sengoku and Suru, but even the old man would definitely curse himself, so why bother to go back and find curses? After taking a turn, Mu Feng set his destination on the windless island of Nine Snake. After such a long period of time, I beat celestial dragons this time, and I should be able to reap the fruits. In 6 years, the relationship between Mu Feng and Hancock has also developed very rapidly, just the last step. However, every time when it comes to a critical juncture, Mu Feng can feel Hancock's resistance, and Mu Feng also knows why Hancock is so there is resistance. In the Chambord Islands, Mu Feng slapped Zaluli Palace because of his inconsistency. 80% of the reason is because of Hancock. Fortunately, Sha Lulia didn't know. Otherwise, if she knew that she was beaten by Mu Feng to make it more convenient to pick up girls, I wonder if she would be angry. Advertisement. Comma 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 comma. In the palace of Hydra Island, Hancock sat on the throne with his head in one hand. Sister, Marine issued a convening order. It said that it ordered 7 warlords of the sea to gather at the naval headquarters within 7 days. Mary Groud reported to Hancock. Have you received the order from Master Mu Feng? Hancock raised his eyes and asked. Not yet. Mary Groud said. Then leave him alone. Wait until you receive the order from Mr. Mu Feng. Hancock waved his hand and said indifferently. Marine's order was ignored by her sister, elder sister, from the Chambord Islands. At this moment, Hancock's other sister, Sunderthonia, ran in anxiously. What happened? Hancock asked unhurriedly. It's Master Mu Feng. Hearing the words Mu Feng, Hancock instantly became energetic. He said hurriedly, Sonda Sonia, let me know, what news has Mr. Mu Feng recently? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 233. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sandasonia panted hard, with an indelible horror on his face, and said with some stuttering, Master Mu Feng. Master Mu Feng beat the Celestial Dragon's Cherulia Palace in the Chambord Islands, and now Celestial Dragons is not yet awake. What? Hancock stood up directly, covering his mouth with his hands. His eyes were also full of shock, and even his body was shaking a little, and he repeatedly asked, Sonda Sonia, is what you said is true? Master Mu Feng beat Tianlong, human. Yes, sister. Sunderthonia nodded busily said, Master Mu Feng. Master Mu Feng actually hit Celestial Dragons. Could it be that Master Mu Feng was for me? Hancock collapsed on the throne, his face flushed red. Sister, elder sister, what's wrong with you? Seeing Hancock's appearance, Sonda Sonia was shocked and hurriedly asked. I seem to be sick. Touching his head, Hancock said weakly. Sister, are you sick? I'm going to call the doctor over. Mary Groud said, and then ran out quickly. Soon Mary Groud brought a doctor over. After checking Hancock's body, the doctor said with a puzzled face, His Majesty Snake G has been pressing the position of his chest. It may be that the heart is abnormal. But it is not certain. I have never seen this symptom. It's better to know what to prescribe. But my sister looks very painful, and the drip hasn't gotten in. Isn't there any good way to relieve some of my sister's symptoms? Maragruder looked anxious. Advertisement. At this moment, the former emperor of Amazon Lily, who heard the news of Hancock's serious illness, also rushed over after hearing the news. Seeing this appearance of Hancock, Granny Za patted her head and said helplessly, It turns out that it is, what a sin is this, a horrible virus regardless of priority. Hey, is it a virus? The doctor was shocked. Mother-in-law, do you know what the disease is? Mariglued asked hurriedly. Wah. Granny Za, I'm so uncomfortable. Who? Will I die? Hancock on the sick bed looked at Granny Za and asked. Oh, it will die. Granny Za said blankly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. WH. What? This is not the time to make a joke. Granny Za. Mary Groud looked at Granny Za and shouted. The relationship between the three sisters is very deep. I only heard the mother-in-law Zai continue to say without expression. The first emperor also died of this disease. The last emperor was also like this. Actually, even I was because of the same disease. I left home and saved my life. It's just this old woman who can say that lovesickness is so refreshing and refined. At this moment, a soldier ran in. Seeing Snake G who was seriously ill, she hesitated for a while before reporting. His Majesty Snake G, Admiral White Bear has come and said that he wants to see Her Majesty Snake G. As Mr. Mu Feng coming. My sister is so seriously ill, how can I meet people? I'll talk to Mrs. Mu Feng about the situation. With that, Marie Groud was about to go out. Advertisement. But when I heard the words Mu Feng, Hancock stood up directly. The spirited appearance, nowhere can I tell that it is a sickness. And said, It doesn't matter, I want to see Master Mu Feng, you all go out first. But sister, you. Mary Groud wanted to say something. But Hancock interrupted directly, saying, I don't know why. This will suddenly relieve my condition a lot, so don't worry about me. Okay. Mary Groud couldn't move Hancock to persuade, so she could only give up. Granny Za took a look at Hancock, and said in her heart, White Bear Admiral. The strongest person in the world. The unshakable iceberg, won't you melt it? I hope you can have a good ending, which is also good for the island of 9 snakes. After a few people left, Mu Feng walked in shortly after. Looking at Hancock, he curiously said, Hancock, have you heard that you are sick? Does it matter? How is your recovery? When he came in, he heard Marie Groud say that Hancock was seriously ill. Look for flowers. No. It doesn't matter. Seeing you, Mr. Mu Feng, I feel that my illness is completely cured. Hancock said with a flushed face. His appearance was really cute. Seeing Hancock like this, it doesn't look like he's sick. Suddenly, Mu Feng was taken aback, thinking of the bridge section in the original plot, and could not help but think of. No way. So useful. I knew it. I went to beat celestial dragons. Master Mu Feng, is there anything you have come to Nine Snake Island this time? Is it because of the Marine Convening Order? If so, the 9 Snake Pirates will immediately rush to naval headquarters. Hancock said hurriedly. There is no hesitation posture. Advertisement. ... Hancock's convening order. Hancock depends on your mood for this matter. Go if you want to go. Don't go if you don't want to go. Marine won't say anything. This time, I have not seen Hancock for a long time. So I want to see you. Mu Feng said with a smile. And hearing Mu Feng's words, Hancock was surprised. I couldn't help thinking. Master Mu Feng said that he wanted to see me. That is to say, Master Mu Feng likes me. Like me. Master Mu Feng loves me. I am so happy. Hancock held his face in both hands, he was more than Hua Zhao. Mu Feng couldn't help but lost his mind, and the atmosphere was a little embarrassing. Ahem, that Hancock, do you have anything to eat here? I'm a little hungry. Eat. Hancock was taken aback. Then he hurriedly said. Yes, Mr. Mu Feng, please wait a moment. Mary Groud, bring up 100 plates of Amazon Lily's food. No. Take up 200 plates first, if not enough, I will more importantly. Hearing what Hancock said, Mu Feng was full of black lines. 200 discs. I don't have the bottomless rubber stomach of Luffy. At this moment in the Chambord Islands, a group of Straw Hat pirates sat on Thousand Sunny, all silent. Just now Mu Feng gave them a blow. It was too big. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 234. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Sanji threw the cigarette butt into the sea, smiled and said, breaking the silence, okay, it's time for dinner. What do you want to eat? Luffy, do you want to eat raw ham and melon? Move on to New World. No, don't. The silent Luffy suddenly jumped out. Ah, you don't want to eat raw ham and cantaloupe. Really? Don't you usually like to eat? Forget it. Then I'll do something else. Sanji scratched his head and said helplessly, turned around, and walked to the side of the kitchen. At this moment, Luffy suddenly said, I decided, we will not go to New World next, and the Straw Hat Pirates will disband. Luffy's words made Straw Hat crew's faces dull. Everyone's eyes widened at 63, and looked at Luffy with a stunned face. There was nothing but an unbelievable look in his eyes. No one would have thought that Luffy could say such a thing. Zoro was the first to react, rushing directly in front of Luffy, hitting Luffy's face with a punch, and knocking Luffy away. And roared angrily. What do you mean? Do you want to abandon your partner? Still think we will be afraid of death? Don't you want to be the One Piece? Don't you want to give up? You disappointed me too much. Luffy. Advertisement. Luffy, no matter how dangerous New World is, we will never give up. Didn't you promise me that you want me to draw a complete chart of the world? Nami said. As a brave warrior on the sea, no matter how difficult the road ahead, the great Captain Usopp will not be afraid. Usopp raised his head and said loudly. If you don't look at his trembling legs, you think it's really the same. Although the remaining few people did not speak, they all looked at Luffy, with blame in their eyes, but they were more determined, and none of them said anything to give up. Luffy got up from the ground, then rubbed his stomach, looked up at Sanji, and said seriously, Sanji, I'm hungry, I want to eat. With that, Luffy's stomach sounded very cooperatively. Guru, voice. Stupid. Thinking about eating now. Nami slammed Luffy's head with a fist. Luffy sat on the ground, rubbed his head, and muttered. Really, shouldn't you eat when you are hungry? And why are you so angry with Nami? No wonder Mu Feng often says that women are it's a fickle animal. What are you talking about? Nami slammed Luffy's head with another fist, and roared. It's not because of you. Why did you say that you want to disband the Straw Hat Pirates? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Really? You can't even listen to me to finish. Luffy covered his head, and continued to mumble dissatisfied, very aggrieved. Straw Hat Crew was taken aback, then looked at Luffy, waiting to hear his explanation. Just listen to Luffy continue to say. I haven't seen what New World is like. But I know Mu Feng will definitely not lie to me. It may die in New World. Although I want to be the One Piece, even if I give up my life. But I don't want to see everyone die before they have fulfilled their dreams. So I want to disband the Straw Hat Pirates. Everyone will practice separately, and then become stronger, strong enough to deal with the dangers of New World. 2 years later, we will gather in the Chambord Islands, let Uncle Rayleigh coat our boat, and then we will go to New World. Quote. Advertisement. It's not like what Luffy said. But at the critical moment, Luffy's head seemed to be a different person. Hearing Luffy's words, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But they stopped talking, because in this case, they would face separation next. This is indeed a good way. Wait for us to become stronger before heading to New World. But the important point is how can we become stronger? Robin said. Indeed, this is a very important question. Since they decided to practice for 2 years, the time of these 2 years is very precious. They have to get stronger every minute and every second, so that Luffy's decision is meaningful. If everyone really decides like this, I have a phone worm from Brother Mu Feng, we can ask him, he must know. Nami said. Okay, that's the decision. Sanji, I'm hungry, I want to eat. Luffy regained his former heartlessness, rubbing his stomach and said. Well, I really can't help you. Sanji shook his head and said. At this moment, a newspaper suddenly fell from the sky, a newspaper delivery bird. Nami picked up the newspaper and threw a 100 Bailey coin up into the sky. He mumbled dissatisfiedly. A newspaper actually costs 100 Baileys, why don't you grab it? At the same time, I opened the newspaper and read the headlines on the front page. And read, Shichibukai and Marine Headquarters are preparing to go to war with the Whitebeard Pirates. The cause of the war is that the world government announced that the 2nd Division captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, Boscart d'Ace, will be publicly executed. At the end, Nami covered her mouth in astonishment and looked up at Luffy. Because Nami knows that Ace is Luffy's brother, Luffy will definitely not sit idly by. Nami, what are you talking about? Ace, are you going to be executed? Luffy looked at Nami in an anxious voice, obviously worried about Ace. Advertisement. Well, a month later, at Naval Headquarters. Nami nodded and said. Why? How could this happen? Luffy's eyes are full of confusion. Ace, are you going to die? 4.9. Suddenly, my heart was full of fear. He thought of Sabo. Although he now knew that Sabo was not dead, he thought that Sabo was dead, that kind of heart-piercing despair. Luffy didn't want to suffer a second time. Nami, where is Ace now? Luffy looked at Nami and asked in a very flat tone, as if something had already been decided. The newspaper said, it was in the great undersea prison. Nami said. Luffy was silent and lowered his head. Before Luffy could speak, Zoro suddenly smiled and said, everyone, I think we should go somewhere before disbanding the Straw Hat Pirates. Where? Usopp was taken aback and asked. The great undersea prison. It was Sanji who was speaking, his words extremely firm. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 235. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In just one day, the newspaper delivery bird gathered the naval headquarters in Shichibukai and declared war on the Whitebeard Pirates to all corners of the world. All of a sudden, the world was in an uproar. Naval headquarters actually went to war against the Whitebeard Pirates. Now, I am afraid the whole world will be in turmoil. However, first think Marine will definitely win the final victory. Why? Stupid. Marine has the existence of Admiral the White Bear. Whitebeard is old. Now Admiral the White Bear is the strongest in the world. The whole world is talking about it, but it is generally optimistic that Marine will win. There is no other reason. Mu Feng's reputation is really too loud in the whole sea. These are the thoughts of ordinary pirates or civilians. This level of war is too far away for them, and they don't even have the qualifications to be an onlooker. 15. New World, Beasts Pirates. Boss. The world government has declared war on the Whitebeard pirates, saying it is going to publicly execute Whitebeard's 2nd Division Captain Ace at the naval headquarters. An officer of Beast's pirates reports to Kaido. All the 3 plagues died, and Beast's pirates suffered a great loss in strength. But as long as Kaido is still there, the status of Beast's pirates' 4 emperors will be unshakable. Advertisement. Kaido poured all the wine in his hand into his mouth, and threw the wine gourd into the sea. He squinted his eyes, with a hint of gleam in his eyes, and murmured, "World government. This is about to clean up the Whitebeard pirates. Boss, what shall we do?" The cadre asked. "Oh ha 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 ha, this kind of war, how can I lose my beast Kaido?" Kaido laughed wildly. For a long time, he stopped laughing wildly, looked at his side and asked, "Man-made devil fruit capable people, how many people are there now?" 700 people, all with a combat power of 300 million or more rewards. Another cadre of Beast's pirates beside Kaido said aloud. The combat power of 300 million or more bounty level is equivalent to the combat power of the lieutenant general level of the headquarters. If you say it, it can definitely scare any forces. With such a terrifying force, even the naval headquarters can be overturned casually, of course not counting Mu Feng. But Kaido was not too satisfied after hearing the report from his subordinates. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. He frowned and said, "Not enough. Go to Doflamingo and ask for it. Within a month, I want my artificial devil fruit army to have more than 1,000 people. There must be a lot of survivors in the hands of the clown." Quote. "Yes, boss." The beast cadre nodded and said, "Oh ha 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 ha, wait, Marine. Kaido, I'm about to start a top war in the world." Kaido laughed wildly. Comma 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 comma. New world, a lush island. Captain. Not good. The world headquarters will publicly execute Ace of the Whitebeard pirates. Leikalu held a newspaper in his hand, and his running speed was inversely proportional to his body shape. Advertisement. Leikalu, what are you talking about? The redhead who was chatting with Beckman and Usopp and hitting farts, his face suddenly changed when he heard Leikalu's voice, and he hurriedly took over the newspaper in Leikalu's hand. When the redhead finished reading the contents of the newspaper, his face was extremely ugly. Since joining the Hunters Guild, he and Rayleigh have also become closer, and naturally know that Ace is the child of Captain Roger. When he learned that Ace was going to capture Blackbeard, the red hair also went to Whitebeard specially, hoping that Whitebeard could recall Ace. Because he knows how powerful Blackbeard is, Ace will definitely not be Blackbeard's opponent, even he was left with 3 scars by Blackbeard. But it turned out that they almost didn't fight directly with the Whitebeard pirates. It's just that the redhead didn't expect that things would evolve into the current situation. Blackbeard. Ace. The red hair looked solemnly. "Shanks, what shall we do?" Beckman asked, looking at the red hair. The identity of Ace, the red hair also told him. He knew that Shanks would not sit idly by. Ace is Roger's only blood, and Roger is the redhead's most respected captain. Of course he couldn't have watched the captain's only blood dying like this. With a wry smile, the red hair said, "It seems that this time, I'm going to trouble everyone again. Come with me to naval headquarters." "Oh ha ha ha, I haven't been to naval headquarters yet. It must be very exciting to make a noise in naval headquarters. Kizaru old guy, I suffered a lot from him last time. I must get it back this time." The members of Red Hair Pirates are more excited than the others. Advertisement. Comma 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 comma. In New World, the sea area closest to the end point. 100. This belongs to the sea ruled by the strongest pirate in the world, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. In this sea area, 9 out of 10 days were strong winds and heavy rains. But today this sea area is surprisingly calm. But the black clouds in the sky seemed to be crushed down, and there was a feeling of black clouds pressing down on the city, and it seemed that an unprecedented storm was brewing. "Father, Ace will be publicly executed at naval headquarters in a month." On the mobile, Marco handed Whitebeard a newspaper. "Yeah," Whitebeard responded. "I took the newspaper, didn't read it, and threw it directly into the ocean." "Father, what shall we do now?" "The diamond?" Jose asked in an anxious expression, looking very anxious. "Do you still need to ask?" Whitebeard said lightly. I saw Whitebeard stand up, and an aura of contemplation broke out. With the momentum alone, all the dense black clouds on the stirred sky dissipated. Notify all the ships of the Whitebeard pirate group to go to Malin Vatican in a month and take Ace home. Whitebeard's low voice resounded throughout the sea. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 236. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Grand Line, Bardigo, the island of white soil, is the headquarters of the revolutionary army that the world government hates most in the world. What? The world government wants to execute Ace publicly. Sabo said in shock. Holding Claire's shoulders, who told him the news with both hands, he eagerly asked, "Where is Ace now?" The newspaper said that he is now being held in the great undersea prison. Great prison under the sea. Okay. I know. I'm going to save Ace. Sabo said, picking up the steel pipe beside him and ran outside. But as soon as he walked to the door, he was suddenly blown back by a gust of wind. I saw a person wrapped in a dark green cloak walking in, with a very weird tattoo on his face. The person looked at Sabo and said in a deep voice, "Calm down, Sabo. Leader." Sabo was taken aback, and then said anxiously, "Leader, don't stop me. Ace is about to be executed. I must save him." Sabo, with your strength, do you think you can rescue Ace from the great undersea prison? Let's not say that Magellan's strength is comparable to Admiral. Impel Down is next to naval headquarters, and Admiral-class combat power can be even more than half. Reinforcement to Impel Down within hours. I'm afraid you will go in and accompany Ace before you rescue Ace. Long said in a deep voice. Advertisement. Hearing what the dragon said, Sabo calmed down a bit. To be the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, he is obviously not the kind of brainless guy like Luffy. He is very clear that what Long said is the truth. If he rushed into Impel Down recklessly, it would not be saving Ace at all, but sending food. After all, not everyone has the life of Luffy's protagonist. The leader, what should I do? Sabo didn't know what to do, but he had made up his mind that even if Long didn't support him, he would go alone. Long frowned. He hadn't thought of intervening in the matter of Ace's execution. However, Sabo's character is very clear. He will never sit idly by about this matter, and Long has cultivated Sabo as his successor, so naturally it is impossible to sit idly by. After thinking about it, Long Kai said, "There is still a month before Ace's execution. This matter can still be discussed in the long term. Now is not the best time to rescue Ace. Ace is caught, and Whitebeard will definitely not sit idly by. Ace, you should be very clear about the identity of." According to the intelligence of the Revolutionary Army, Rayleigh and Hongfa already knew about this. Ace is about to be executed, and they will certainly not leave it alone. The red hair is the four emperors, and behind Rayleigh, there is a giant hunters guild. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. There are only 3 remaining emperors in New World, and 2 of them have already acted. With Kaido's lawless character, he will definitely get involved. And these are not the most important is the position of the White Bear. Don't forget, the relationship between Bai Xiong and Ace is definitely not worse than the relationship between you and Ace, and with Bai Xiong's character, no one knows what he can do. If this matter is not handled properly, it may be directly shaken to the root of the existence of the world government. Not to mention that Ace is only Roger's blood. Even Roger himself, if it is possible to cause such a big turmoil, he should not be sentenced. 5 elders are all scheming guys, and how can they not see the power of the relationship? So there must be other secrets in this matter, which is why I want the Revolutionary Army to stay out of it, but now it seems, it's impossible to stay outside. Quote. Advertisement. Long deserves to be the leader of the Revolutionary Army that dares to challenge the world government. Not only does it possess 4 emperors class combat power, but its resourcefulness is definitely not to be underestimated. Chief, this is my personal business, and I don't have to involve the Revolutionary Army. Sabo said busy. He didn't want to see the Revolutionary Army's partner die because of his own affairs. Long shook his head, and said in a deep voice, "If we stay outside, we will not lose much, but we will also lose the opportunity to compete for benefits. Therefore, we must consider this matter long and try to save Ace. At the same time, seize the corresponding benefits." Boss, I understand. Sabo nodded and said, comma 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 comma. Chambord Islands, Island 13. Aunt Shaw's hold-up bar. No, it should be called the Hunter Guild Mission Receiving Office now. The door opens at 9 in the morning and closes at 5 in the afternoon. For several years, the Hunters Guild Mission Receiving Office has never changed the time. However, the hunters who came today found out. It was only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the door was closed. In the house, Shachi leaned against the bar, looked at Rayleigh in front of him, and asked, "What are you going to do about the execution of Brother Ace by the world government?" "What else can I do? Of course it is to rescue. Roger, the bastard, is dead and don't let my old bone rest." Rayleigh smiled bitterly while sitting in the chair. Advertisement. "Are you going to tell Midian about this matter?" Shachi asked. Rayleigh was silent for a while, then said, "Forget it, everyone's lives have calmed down, it's better not to disturb them again." Shachi nodded, but did not refute what Rayleigh said. Suddenly, Shachi thought of something. He took out a phone worm from the bar and said, "Senju Hashirama, the old lady Tenten worked hard for him. That's good, at this time, he should have done some work, otherwise, the old lady smashed his hunter guild." Seeing Shachi dialing the phone bug, Rayleigh opened his mouth, but said nothing in the end. Senju Hashirama is different from the crew members of the Roger Pirates. Moreover, Senju Hashirama's strength is completely beyond the Four Emperors level. Not to mention defeating the White Bear, at least there is no problem in holding the White Bear. As long as the White Bear can be held, then Rayleigh's confidence in successfully saving Ace will definitely increase to 70%. The above. Mu Feng of Nine Snake Island can definitely be said to be intoxicated and not knowing where to return these past few days. When I heard the phone bug ringing, Hancock was also brought to my ear, and when I connected, I heard Shachi's voice. "Hashirama kid, where are you now?" Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 237. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After handing the phone worm to Mu Feng, Hancock continued to be busy with other things. Mu Feng's voice changed slightly, and he said, "It's Aunt Shaw, what's the matter?" "I'm dealing with some things in the windless zone now, I'm very busy." "You kid, you know about Ace's arrest?" Shachi said straightforwardly. "Yeah, I know," Mu Feng said. "It's good to know. Ace is Roger's only son. Rayleigh will naturally not sit idly by. He is ready to rescue Ace when Ace is publicly executed. You guys can't help but work hard. We are Tenten who work hard for you," Shachi said. "Aunt Shaw, look at what you said, even if you don't say Aunt Shaw, I will definitely go. Don't worry, I will definitely appear at Naval Headquarters on the execution day." Mu Feng vowed. "You kid, why is it so abnormal today?" Shachi asked strangely. Mu Feng's promise was too refreshing, giving Shachi the feeling that this is a fake Senju Hashirama. I'm not hiding from Aunt Shaw, I just received a mission. The content of the mission is to rescue Ace, and I have already decided to take over." Mu Feng said with a smile. 060, someone posted a mission. Who is it? Why don't I know? Shachi asked in confusion. The Hunters Guild's missions should all go out from here. Bai Shang, that guy contacted me directly, and he hasn't had time to talk to Aunt Shaw. Mu Feng opened his mouth and made up. "Anyway, I'm both inside and out, and I'm not afraid of being exposed." White Bear. Shachi was even more surprised now. Advertisement. Mu Feng smiled and said, "Auntie Shaw, you are still doing intelligence because of you. Don't you know the relationship between Bai Shang and Ace? Ace is Bai Shang's younger brother." "Huh, is this actually the case?" Shachi said in a daze. Although she knew that Ace was adopted by Garp, and the White Bear was adopted by Garp, she really did not deliberately pay attention to the relationship between the two. Rayleigh beside Shachi was relieved when he heard Mu Feng's words in the phone bug. Unexpectedly, the White Bear, which was originally regarded as the biggest problem, would be the best one to solve, and it would be helped by Senju Hashirama. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The confidence BBAH in successfully saving Ace could not help but increase to 80%. Not to mention what Rayleigh was thinking at the moment, Mu Feng casually chatted with Shachi and hung up the phone worm, but Mu Feng just hung up the phone worm. Bolu. Bolu. The voice of the phone bug rang again. Fufuru. Admiral, White Bear, how are you doing these days? It was Doflamingo's voice. How could this guy contact himself? Today is not the time to pay the tribute. Doflamingo, I remember telling you that your laughter is terrible. If you let me hear such terrible laughter again, I will go to New World to cut off your tongue now. Mu Feng was not polite. Said coldly. Hee hee. Admiral the White Bear laughs. Doflamingo smiled awkwardly. Obviously, I can feel Doflamingo on the other end of the phone worm, a bit stiff. Advertisement. Am I joking? You can try it. Mu Feng said playfully. After a pause, he asked. What's wrong? You need to contact me. When asked by Mu Feng, Doflamingo said directly. Naval Headquarters issued a convening order to let me set off today and go to Naval Headquarters. There is also Kaido. Let me give him all the man-made devil fruit in my hand. After speaking, Doflamingo was silent. No words. No matter how resistant Doflamingo is, he can't help but admit one thing. That is, he can now become the 4 emperors. No, it should be said that he has become the strongest force under the 3 emperors, but he has often used the identity of 7 warlords of the sea. To be more thorough, it is to take advantage of Mu Feng's momentum. If Mu Feng wants to destroy the Don Quixote family, he doesn't even have to act. All you need to do is to move your mouth to expel Doflamingo from Shichibukai, and in minutes, the New World bigwigs who have been greedy for the sea controlled by Doflamingo will bite him away. Kaido needs man-made devil fruit so urgently, it seems that I can't wait. Is the goal to be sure of this battle on the top? The top war? Hee hee, it's really exciting, I hope you can bring me some fun. Mu Feng murmured. Then he ordered Doflamingo at the other end of the phone worm, give him all the artificial devil fruit in your hand. Remember, I said everything, don't think I don't know the 1 or 2 you secretly hide 100 fruits. When Doflamingo on the other end of the phone worm heard Mu Feng's words, his back felt cold. He did secretly hide the man-made devil fruit, but this is the secret in the secret, even Diamante and Toripal, these top officials did not know. How did Bai Shang know? Is it possible that a white bear can read other people's memories, and even through a phone worm? Advertisement. If Doflamingo knows that Mu Feng is just a scam. However, he directly looked like he didn't confess himself, and I don't know if he would vomit blood and die. It can be said that he was played as a monkey, and Doflamingo was directly crushed on IQ. Ignoring Doflamingo, whose mental activity is complicated at the moment, Mu Feng hung up the phone worm. Hancock had already prepared dinner and brought it personally. Master Mu Feng, does Marine still have a lot of work to do? Here, will Master Mu Feng delay your time? Hancock asked very intimately. Of course not, no matter how important things are, it won't be more important than Hancock. Mu Feng will definitely not lose to anyone in terms of his ability to speak out. Master Mu Feng. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Hancock couldn't help being moved. He closed his eyes, his eyelids were still trembling slightly, and his beautiful face slowly moved towards Mu Feng. Hancock is like this, how could Mu Feng not understand? The spring night was worth $1,000, and then Mu Feng spent tens of thousands of dollars worth of time. Besides the Straw Hat Pirates, in the plot, Luffy was able to sneak into Impel Down with the help of Hancock, but now Luffy does not know Hancock at all. Ever since, Luffy made a very bold decision to storm the Gate of Justice. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 238. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. For 800 years, the Gate of Justice has stood before Naval Headquarters, Judicial Island, and Impel Down. Even Marine Admiral level attacks can hardly be shaken. However, Luffy is a bug with the protagonist's lifestyle. Under the attack of Luffy's third block giant punch, the Gate of Justice was blasted open abruptly, and Thousand Sunny also took the opportunity to drive in. Straw Hat crew didn't hide anything, and went straight into Impel Down from the front door. Then the entire underwater prison was completely messed up. The Impel Down director Magellan, who has a combat power comparable to Admiral level, seemed to have lost his mind. Luffy broke into it, and even went all the way to the 6th level of Infinite Hell, but good. Transferred to Ace in the world government. And just when Impel Down has become a mess, Blackbeard, who has become Shichibukai, directly brings all the members of the pirate group to appear, intending to make Impel Down. In order to stop Blackbeard, Magellan made a very bold decision to release the former Impel Down guard who was imprisoned in the infinite hell rain no Hirayu. Possessing the swordsmanship of a great swordsman, the strength is comparable to Magellan, and because of the two of them, Impel Down is called the Iron Wall. However, because of bloodthirsty, he would often kill offenders indiscriminately and was sentenced to a suspended death sentence. Advertisement. But what Magellan didn't expect was that Hirayu, who had just received the sword, rebelled directly and killed several jailers who released him with a single knife. Then instead of dealing with Blackbeard, he even joined the Blackbeard pirates. Then he took Blackbeard directly into the infinite hell, releasing all the vicious criminals imprisoned in the infinite hell. At this moment, even though Magellan was as strong as Admiral, he couldn't hold it anymore. Think of those two guys imprisoned in infinite hell, Magellan just feels his scalp tingling. Lonely Red, Barloric Letterfield, World Breaker, Bondi Wald. Magellan shuddered, not daring to hesitate, and directly dialed the phone worm of Marshal Naval Headquarters Sengoku to report the situation. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Naval Headquarters, Ace will be publicly executed here in more than half a month. The deployment of Olis Plaza, the placement of pacifists, the recruitment of Shichibukai, and the arrival of marine branches in various places. Sengoku said he was busy and dizzy. After returning from Mary Geoise, Sengoku did not even take a break, so that there was no time to find Mu Feng to be held accountable. At this time, Magellan called. What are you talking about? Impel Down was captured. The bastards of Infinite Hell were all released. What's the matter? Sengoku directly stunned. Advertisement. After hearing Magellan's explanation, Sengoku was full of black lines and stared fiercely at Garp, who was still eating senbei without heart. Shen Sheng said. I know, I will immediately dispatch Admiral-class combat power to Impel Down support, Chief Magellan. Before that, we must ensure that none of the villains can escape. Crunch. Impel Down. Crunch. What happened? Seeing Sengoku hang up the phone worm, Garp asked aloud, not forgetting to put senbei in his mouth. You still have the face to ask me. Sengoku growled at Garp. Spit the stars all sprayed Garp's face. It's not because your grandson got into trouble. The Straw Hat crew broke into Impel Down. The Blackbeard pirates also took the opportunity to make Impel Down, and even all the bastards of Infinite Hell it's released. All, including those two guys? Garp asked. His eyes widened. Sengoku said nothing, nodded. It's over. Those two guys are monsters. Garp murmured, but then he slapped Luffy with injustice. But I can't blame Luffy. It's not Luffy who released them, blame it. I can only blame the world government for giving Blackbeard 7 Warlords of the Sea the title, allowing him to freely enter and exit the gate of justice. Asshole. Now is not the time to shirk responsibility, we must stop the two of them from escaping Impel Down. Sengoku said, and then cast his gaze to Garp. Kizaru stayed in the holy place Mary Geoise. Since the Hulk incident, Celestial Dragons has required Marine Admiral to stay there, and there is no room for negotiation. And Aokiji and aka Inu, the two of them happened to escort Ace back to Naval Headquarters. It is simply impossible not to send more than 2 Admiral-level combat powers. You must know that the captains of the first 5 divisions of the Whitebeard Pirates have Admiral-level combat power. If only Aokiji or Akadog is escorted. As long as 3 captains come, Ace can be easily robbed. Look for flowers. As the Marshal, he must sit in the Naval Headquarters, and now only Garp can move. Advertisement. But who knows that Garp is very bachelor and said, don't look at me, the guy Wald is fortunate to say, I can barely hold it. But the guy Letterfield, but maintains the highest combat power, I was always he only caught him when he was exhausted, and now I am not his opponent. Against the two of them, I used to deliver food. Sengoku also knows that Garp is telling the truth. Whether it is Bundy Wald or Baroque Letterfield, they are not simple characters. 0. Even if the two of them were caught in the great undersea prison, they were not defeated head-on by Marine. Wald was captured because he was instigated by the spies of the world government. And Letterfield was caught by Garp because of exhaustion of fighting. Mu Feng. This kid, I don't know where. Can I rush to Impel Down now? There was no way. Sengoku took out a phone worm. The reason why he didn't want to contact Mu Feng at first was because he didn't know where Mu Feng was. If he couldn't get to Impel Down within half an hour, it wouldn't help. Even whether Magellan can hold on for half an hour is a big question. Marshal, I also think you will call me a bug sooner. I didn't expect to call me now, or say something else. Mu Feng's lazy voice sounded. Mu Feng, where are you now? The champagne area had already happened, and he said that Mu Feng was useless, not to mention that the impel down matter was more urgent. I'm in 9 Snake Island, what happened? Mu Feng asked. He could easily hear the anxiety and worry in Sengoku's voice. 9 Snake Island. Great. Sengoku was overjoyed. 9 Snake Island and Impel Down are both windless, and they are not too far apart. Of course, this is not too far to be measured by Mu Feng's speed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 239. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Secretly dark cave road. Black matter overflowed from Blackbeard's body, and the entire ground was infiltrated into black in an instant. Even the ground under Magellan's feet was sinking continuously. What is this? Magellan struggled hard, but no matter how hard he exerted, he couldn't stop the sinking tendency of his body. Haliu, thanks to you. If you didn't bring the medicine, I guess I would really die this time. Blackbeard laughed. Anyway, staying here, I will never get ahead, but I have always been looking forward to meeting a man like you. Yu Ziliu, who was holding a cigar, laughed loudly. Haliu. You. Magellan glared at Shiliu of Rain, extremely angry. The Magellan Department. July 13th. Didn't I just kill a few criminals who should have been executed? You actually put me in infinite hell, and you also reported to the world government and sentenced me to death. You said, shouldn't our 2 accounts be settled? Yu Ziliu pulled out the second-generation ghost from her waist and walked slowly towards Magellan. Haliu, although I don't want to disturb you. But now is not a good time. Marine's reinforcements should be able to get to Impel Down soon. Now is not a good time to fight Marine. Blackbeard stopped Yu Ziliu with a voice. Move. If it's Aokiji, Kizaru, or Akadog, Blackbeard is not afraid. With the current strength of the Blackbeard pirates, which one of the 3 will sling each other? However, Blackbeard was afraid. The reinforcements sent by Marine would be Mu Feng. Think about the battle between Mu Feng and Whitebeard 5 years ago. Advertisement. Even now, Blackbeard still has a trembling feeling, that terrifying power, destroying the world. Just thinking about it, I am afraid. Before the ability to seize the father, absolutely cannot conflict with the white bear. Although Blackbeard likes to gamble, he chose to fight Mu Feng, not gambling at all, but looking for death. Blackbeard does not like looking for death. Hearing Blackbeard's words, Yu Ziliu's movements paused. Then he inserted second-generation Guido back into the scabbard, took a look at Magellan, and said, since the captain has already given orders, let's spare your life. Blackbeard and his party hurriedly left Impel Down and disappeared into the vast ocean. Damn it. Losing Blackbeard's control, the effect of the dark cave gradually weakened, and Magellan was finally able to crawl out of the dark cave. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oh ha 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 30 years, I finally came out from here. Golden Lion Guy, when he escaped, he didn't help Lao Su cut off the handcuffs of the sea tower. When we meet next time, Lao Su must kill him. But before that, the world government dared to close Lao Su for 30 years. Lao Su must repay you well. The old voice sounded, and at the same time a guy wearing a horn's helmet came out, his body full of kinked muscles, looking terrifying. Seeing this guy coming out, Magellan's heart sank. World Destroyer. Bundy Wald. Magellan said dryly. Only then did Wald pay attention to Magellan, who was lying on the ground, who was struggling to get up. He laughed and said, it turned out to be you, kid, but I remember very clearly. I have been imprisoned for 30 years. Thanks to you, I didn't have a full meal, let alone a drink. Hey, I want to thank you very much. Momo 10 times cannon. Wald casually threw the boulder beside Magellan at Magellan. Advertisement. Poison Dragon. Magellan used the fruit ability to condense a huge poisonous dragon, but the huge boulder thrown by Wald was too fast, carrying terrifying kinetic energy. Directly smashed Magellan's poisonous dragon, and then smashed it heavily on Magellan's body. Puff. Magellan spit out blood, his face extremely pale. Momo 30x speed. Wald's speed suddenly increased, and at the same time armament hockey was looped on his calf, and the speed was even 15 times faster than the shaving in Marine 6 styles. The goal of Wald's kick is the position of Magellan's heart. If Wald is really kicked, Magellan will undoubtedly die. At this moment, Magellan, because of the previous continuous battles, has been completely exhausted, and the poisonous dragon just now was barely condensed. This will not have the slightest physical strength to dodge Wald's attack. Moreover, even if Magellan had the physical strength to dodge. But Wald's speed is so fast that his eyes can't catch it, so how can he dodge? It seems. I can only do this. Hannibal, I hope you can stick to Impel Down in the future. Don't make such mistakes again. Magellan thought in her heart, and closed her eyes in despair. Advertisement. Director Magellan, are you ready to give up? This is not your style. A faint voice sounded. Magellan didn't feel death, and the sound in her ear was familiar. Opening his eyes, infinite hope burst out of his desperate eyes. The person who came was no one else, but Mu Feng came from Nine Snake Island. Hanging up the phone worm with Sengoku, Mu Feng walked directly on the sea. At a distance of hundreds of nautical miles, Mu Feng rushed over in just over 20 minutes. With armament hockey covering his arms, Mu Feng stopped Wald's attack. Magellan should not die, if Mu Feng comes a few seconds later. 3.8. No, even if it was a second late, Magellan would definitely die. Are you a world destroyer, Bundy Wald? Well, it looks more like a bad old man. Looking at Wald, Mu Feng said lightly. Broken black hair, white cloak of justice, a pure white suit, and golden epaulettes on the shoulders. Marine Admiral. Wald narrowed his eyes slightly. Admiral's epaulettes are the most gorgeous epaulettes in Marine except for the Marshal. How could he not recognize him, a great pirate who has been around for a lifetime? Hey, I'm Bondi Wald. I didn't expect that Marine is really getting more and more wasteful, and he actually made a hairy boy a Marine Admiral. Wald disdainfully said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Advertisement. Chapter 240. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Although Wald was surprised by the sudden appearance of Mu Feng, he didn't even notice his observation hockey. But Wald has spent half his life on the sea, and what kind of enemy he has never seen, maybe it's just a fruit ability. Marine Admiral, White Bear. Mu Feng said lightly. Hee. I thought it would be Garp, Sengoku, or Sora who would come in person, but I didn't expect it to be just a little kid. You can become a Marine Admiral. It seems that Marine has no successor. It's good news. Forget it, although you are just a kid, since you can become a Marine Admiral, you must be famous in the sea. Hee. If you kill you, I think the world government will be very angry. Ahahaha. Quote. This question. Will the world government be angry? I really don't know. However, if you can really kill me, I believe the whole world will be in turmoil. Moreover, the world government and the Whitebeard pirates just now declaring war. If I die, it will be very detrimental to Marine, but first, you have to kill me, but 15 I think this is impossible. Mu Feng shrugged and said with a smile, without the slightest sense of tension. Kid. I'm not old, my tone is not young. The world government declares war with the Whitebeard pirates. That's good news. Wald laughed. By looking at his face, you can know that he wants to make a cross. Momo 50x speed. With a grinning face, Wald suddenly flicked his feet, 50 times faster than the fastest shave in Marine 6 styles, and even nearly 30 times faster. It was only in a Setsuna that he assaulted Mu Feng. The 5 fingers of his right hand were opened, bent, and claw-shaped, and they grabbed Mu Feng's fingers. Advertisement. Wald didn't use the armed color, and Mu Feng didn't use the armed color. He made a fist with his left hand, and a punch hit Wald's palm directly. Although both of them didn't seem to exert much force, they touched a Setsuna with their fists. The terrifying storm violently dispersed towards the surroundings. Magellan couldn't stand firmly under her feet, and almost was not directly lifted off by the storm. She couldn't help but feel shocked in her heart. Is this the powerhouse of the 4 emperors level? It's so terrifying. Old guy, as the saying goes, hitting people don't slap your face, you are a bit too much. As an old senior, you are too indifferent. Facing juniors, you actually take the initiative. And you slap your face directly. Oh, if that's the case, don't blame me for not leaving you a whole body when I killed you, Bundy Wald. Mu Feng's voice became colder and colder. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ahahahaha. Wald leaned forward and closed with a smile, as if he had heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. After a long while, he stopped. Looking at Mu Feng coldly said, "Kill me. Don't you leave me a corpse. Little devil, your tone is not so big." Wald was very angry. When he crossed the sea, his reputation was even more prestigious than Roger and Whitebeard. World Destroyer. Such a title can fully reveal his once horror, whether it is Sengoku, Garp, or Sora, dare not speak to him like that. And now a hairy kid dared to yell in front of him. Wald felt that his dignity had been insulted, and he wanted to tear up the kid in front of him. And, when he defeated this kid, no matter how he kowtowed in front of him to admit his mistake, he would never spare this kid. He picked up a knife that had fallen from the ground, and armament hockey circled it. A strong man like Wald, no matter what the material of the long knife he holds, after being attached to the tyrannical armament hockey, he will definitely not be inferior to the big sharp knife. Advertisement. Momo 100 times cut. Wald's voice fell, and the long knife in his hand suddenly became 100 times bigger. At the same time, the speed of slashing has also increased 100 times. The blade was originally more than 1 meter long. After Wald exerted the Momo fruit ability, the long sword suddenly became hundreds of meters long and stretched directly above Mu Feng's head. The broad blade fell at a terrifying speed. With such a power, the entire earth could be directly slashed, not to mention a flesh and blood body. Ahahaha kid, how did you take my attack down? Wald laughed wildly, as if he saw the scene where Mu Feng was split. You don't even have the most basic sword strength. You use the sword, it is really an insult to the sword. Mu Feng's faint voice sounded, and at the same time a black long sword appeared in his hand. It was Mu Feng who got it from the general of the country of Harmony Miave Kunjung. Swordsman's Ape power, great swordsman's Ape spirit, and supreme swordsman's weight is sword intent. The slash that Wald slashed didn't even have the most basic sword power. As far as the swordsmanship is concerned, Wald was an influential swordsman. So Mu Feng said that his use of the sword was an insult to the sword, and there was nothing wrong with it. Advertisement. The sword was in Wald's hands, and it was completely used as a club. Such a slash was ridiculous in the eyes of Mu 450 Feng. The long knife in Mu Feng's hand fell, and the tip of the knife fell over the head of the blade of the giant knife. The sword intent passed through the tip of Muramasa's sword into the giant sword wrapped by Wald armament hockey, and a jaw-dropping scene took place. The huge knife that Wald held was shattered every inch. Even Wald's armed color could not stop this crushing. The tendency of the blade to shatter gradually extends to the handle. Wald found that he had no way to stop this crushing. Finally, I had to discard the long knife in my hand, otherwise it would be troublesome to spread to my arm. Seeing the knife handle on the ground completely shattered, Wald's face changed and changed again, and his gaze at Mu Feng finally became solemn, and he said solemnly, "Boy, what exactly are you eating devil fruit?" Not even Jian Hao. He didn't know that there was a supreme Jian Hao above the great Jian Hao, nor did he know the sword intent. In Wald's opinion, the reason why Mu Feng's slash can cause such a weird effect is definitely because of eating devil fruit. Devil fruit. Haha. You are really short-sighted. Or maybe you have been eliminated from the world. Mu Feng laughed. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtlnovel for free. Advertisement.